Chapter 45. A top-class auction. There were only two things that Yuhao was interested in. The first was the 70,000-year icy jade scorpion left arm soul bone that possessed the ice explosion technique. He had an agreement with Emperor Xingluo and Princess Juju that Bing would give the icy jade scorpion soul bone to Yuhao. However, Yuhao had to become the champion. As for the second thing, it was the Snow Empress embryo, although she was eventually sold to Xiao Hongchun. Yuhao didn't want to bid for the Snow Empress, not because he didn't want to save her, but because he had communicated with her. The Snow Empress said, "I became an embryo again because I wanted to see my father as soon as possible and reminisce about my childhood. Father, you have to bring me back." Yuhao didn't know what to say about this reason. Over the next 2 to 3 days, Shrek's main team members, Ma Xiaotao, Dai Huabin, and Ling Luochen, were the only ones to fight. Yuhao and the others only fought during team battles. They spent the rest of their time cultivating. What made the preparatory team pleasantly surprised was that, aside from Bei Bei, all 6 of them had broken through a rank at the same time. Su Sancher was at the peak of rank 49, Jiang Nanan was at rank 47, and Ikaitu was at rank 48. Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Xiao had all advanced by a rank. Yuhao was a rank 38 Soul Elder, Tang Dong was a rank 37 Soul Elder, and Xiao Xiao was a rank 33 Soul Elder. They had always been curious as to why their cultivation speed had become so fast. Even Ma Xiaodao could feel that her cultivation speed had become faster than before. Right now, she was very close to becoming a rank 70 Soul Sage. What was going on? Perhaps only Yuhao knew what was going on. Spiritual world. Hey, I've finally woken up. Is it really okay for you to refuse to talk to me? A lady wearing bright golden armor and carrying 2 huge golden swords on her back stared at Yuhao. This lady gave off an arrogant and cold feeling. However, she didn't put on any airs in front of Yuhao. Instead, she acted like a little girl throwing a tantrum. Ma, don't be so angry. I'm very grateful for your help, for odd beasts. Thank you for injecting your auspicious energy into my companions' bodies. I'm very grateful to you. And, at the same time, welcome home, Qilin. As early as 10,000 years ago, I had a bad feeling about the name Qilin. This is really... The blonde woman did not finish her sentence. Very nice, right? I think it's a very nice name, Yuhao said with a smile. Qilin and Qilin couldn't tell the difference. Yuhao thought. The golden-haired woman in front of Yuhao was the auspicious beast, the Qilin. 10,000 years ago, Yuhao had named her Qilin. That's right, the Qilin had already awakened. Furthermore, it had already awakened when the first seal was broken. At that time, Yuhao had given her 2 missions. One was to help him find a soul beast, and the other was to inject some auspicious energy into his family. Auspicious energy contained all the fortune in the world, and it was all beneficial. The blonde woman was stunned, and a blush appeared on her face. Since you think it's nice, I'll make do with it. Right? I found the soul beast you were looking for. Oh, Yuhao suddenly became very serious. You really found it? That soul beast? Even the Ice Empress and Brother Sky Dream rushed over when they heard this. Did you really find that soul beast? There's actually a descendant of it on Doluo. The 2 beasts could not believe it. Of course I found it. The blonde woman grabbed a beautiful woman with fiery red hair out of thin air. The woman was wearing a fiery red dress, and there was a trace of fear on her face. I found the heavenly fire phoenix that's about to break through to 900,000 years old. I found it in the heavenly firelands. This little bird is the ruler of that place. The blonde woman smiled. Didn't I tell you to be gentler? Look at how scared she is now. Yuhao scolded. She was the one who attacked me first. She wanted to swallow me to increase her strength. How could I not do something about it? The blonde woman was a little unhappy. Who are you? Where is this place? A red-haired woman looked at them in fear. I'm sorry, Miss Heavenly Fire Phoenix. I'm really sorry. I just want to help you. You don't have any confidence in breaking through to 900,000 years old, do you? I have a way to help you. I can even help you break through to the undying realm. Hui Yuhao said apologetically. What? You are? She looked at Hui Yuhao in shock. Don't worry, I have no reason to harm you. You saw it yourself. There's soul beasts just like you. So do you agree? If you agree, I can let you live in another form. If you don't, I'll let you go immediately. A red-haired woman looked at Hui Yuhao deeply. All right, I promise you. Thank you for your trust. I think you'll be satisfied with your host. Her martial soul is also a phoenix. What? Today was the semi-finals. Ma Xiaotao, Dai Yueheng, Ling Luochun, Bei Bei, Su Sanshi, Hui Yuhao, and Tang Dong were fighting against people from Xingluo Academy. Yuhao, can you tell how strong Su Jiujiu is? Ma Xiaotao asked. She's around rank 50. Her martial soul is the auxiliary type star crown. Hui Yuhao's memory wouldn't be wrong. Furthermore, even without this part of his memory, Hui Yuhao could tell her cultivation with his current spiritual power. As for how he could see through her martial soul, based on his memory, of course, he could also see through her martial soul. He could see through all disguises, illusions, and cover-ups on the stage. The 14 of them were facing each other. It felt as if sparks were about to fly. Princess Jiujiu stood at the front of Xingluo's team. She looked calmly at Shrek Academy's team. However, she wasn't looking at Ma Xiaodao. Instead, she was looking at Hui Yuhao. She had a particularly deep impression of Hui Yuhao. He had twin martial souls, a frightening combination of soul rings, and his self-invented explosive talisman. He also had an aura of transcendence and mystery, as well as the calm and negotiating ability he had displayed the day before. Even she couldn't help but admire him. She was curious about this 12-year-old kid. How many more secrets does he have? I'm going to dig out all your secrets in this fight. Hui Yuhao, a look of curiosity and excitement flashed across her eyes. On the other side, Hui Yuhao already knew what she was thinking. The Eye of the Soul was an immortal-level ability in the immortal world. It could peer into the opponent's mental state and memories. It was even more advanced than the soul-searching technique. This was because the Eye of the Soul could peer into the opponent's mind without removing the seal. However, the soul-searching technique carried a certain amount of risk. Hui Yuhao knew how to use it. As for why, it was because his third memory seal contained some memories of the first eye in the immortal world. Therefore, the Yuhao didn't say much about the things that Su Jiujiu was thinking about. You want to know my secrets? All right, since that's the case, I'll show you a little. The match began. Hui Yuhao from Shrek's team stood at the front. He was going to face 7 people alone. Ma Xiaotao and the rest weren't worried at all. Hui Yuhao had already told them that he had many trump cards that he hadn't used yet. His martial soul was released, and his soul rings were revealed. Everyone released their martial souls and soul rings, except for one person. Hui Yuhao. Princess Jiujiu furrowed her brows. What is he planning? In the next moment, she saw something that she would never forget. 9 different colored light projections suddenly shot out from Hui Yuhao's back. Instantly, the entire arena was in an uproar. That was because they were 9 different colored scorpion tails. Red, blue, green, yellow, jade green, purple, brown, black, and white tails. 7 of the 9 tails instantly elongated, and 7 of the barbs pierced into the 7 opponents. The last tail, black and white, stabbed into the ground behind him, maintaining his balance. Is this a martial soul? Everyone thought so, but it was impossible. Could it be that Hui Yuhao had a third martial soul? That's impossible. Only a few people with good eyesight could tell what was going on. An external soul bone. Yes, Hui Yuhao was using an external soul bone that he hadn't fused with 10,000 years ago, the 9-tailed Emperor Scorpion tail. He actually has an external soul bone? Everyone from Xingluo Academy, the Sun Moon Soul Engineering Academy, and Shrek were astonished. The 7 from Xingluo Academy instantly felt their bodies begin to tingle. There's poison. Everyone was aware of one thing. The 7 tails were retracted. Following this, a pair of golden moth wings opened behind Hui Yuhao's back. Instantly, golden light flashed across the entire arena. The The 7 from Xingluo Academy were dazzled. Under Hui Yuhao's reminder, the 6 from Shrek Academy closed their eyes in time. They could see their opponents with spiritual detection sharing. The 6 of them closed their eyes and charged forward, unleashing their ultimate moves. Ma Xiaotao was the most ferocious. Hui Yuhao and Tang Dong even used their second martial soul fusion skill, the heaven-defying hammer. It was the upgraded version of the Heavenly Emperor's hammer. It was even stronger than before. They even used the Golden Road and the upgraded version of the Golden Light Path. The 7 from Xingluo Academy could only passively defend. However, in less than 30 seconds, Xingluo Academy was annihilated. Hui Yuhao actually had an external soul bone. Furthermore, everyone was astonished once again. Shrek's foundation was actually so strong. This child actually had 2 external soul bones and a torso bone. Even some of the titled Law Academy's titled soul masters were envious. Actually, they didn't know that these weren't given to Hui Yuhao by Shrek. They were originally Hui Yuhao's. Even Elder Xian was seeing Hui Yuhao's 2 external soul bones for the first time, as well as their second martial soul fusion skill. How many more trump cards does this child have? His sister's foundation was truly terrifying. 3 soul bones, 100,000-year soul ring. After the battle, Ma Xiaotao's evil fire became somewhat unstable. She hurriedly pulled the weakened Hui Yuhao and ran out of sight to the bathroom. Ma Xiaotao anxiously grabbed Hui Yuhao as the evil fire in her body surged. She could clearly feel that she was about to lose control. Once she went crazy, the Grand Imperial Star Hotel was located in the downtown area. When that happened, who knew how many people would lose their lives in her madness? More importantly, she, Yuhao, could be the first to die. No, she couldn't hurt Yuhao. Yuhao was already like a little brother to her. Her consciousness was already blurred. She tore apart her own clothes and Yuhao's. After some tossing and turning, the evil fire in her body automatically entered Yuhao's body. After this stimulation, Yuhao instantly woke up. Oh, how could this be? Hui Yuhao's expression was unbelievably shocked. Hui Yuhao fiercely clenched his teeth. Damned evil fire. Freeze yourself. In the instant that he was frozen, Hui Yuhao injected an illusory, fiery red figure into Ma Xiaotao's body. Hui Yuhao's eyes finally revealed a trace of happiness. Then, his vision started to blur. This is great. Then, crack, crack, crack. A huge block of ice appeared in the shower. 2 people were frozen inside, naked and hugging each other. After an unknown period of time, Ma Xiaotao slowly woke up from her deep sleep. Her consciousness gradually recovered. The first thing she felt was cold. She had never felt so cold before. Her body uncontrollably shivered. The moment she moved, a series of kacha sounds rang out. Amidst her low cry of alarm, the huge ice block began to shatter. Ah! Ma Xiaotao cried out and subconsciously covered her body. Hui Yuhao was also awakened by her cry. When he opened his eyes, he saw that perfect body again. He also subconsciously cried out, "Ah, what a sin! What are you shouting for? You're shouting even louder than me, as if you're at a disadvantage. Hurry up and close your eyes. Put on your clothes and wait for me outside. I won't let you leave. You're not allowed to leave." Ma Xiaotao said angrily. Hui Yuhao wore his clothes and sat obediently on the sofa outside. His beautiful and adorable face was still flushed red. The tuft of blue hair on the top of his head kept swaying. It was quite cute. Ma Xiaotao was wearing clean clothes. She was already 19 years old. Although what had happened earlier was a little embarrassing, she felt different from Hui Yuhao. Thinking back to the feeling of climbing to the peak of bliss under the stimulation of ice and fire, Ma Xiaotao couldn't help but touch her burning cheeks. This little rascal. She immediately thought of Hui Yuhao's predicament in Poseidon Lake. However, this time it was her who was the victim. Wait a minute. Ma Xiaotao carefully sensed her soul power. How is this possible? I'm rank 75. She subconsciously released her soul rings. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black, and 1 red soul rings suddenly appeared. The The red soul ring was purer and brighter than any red soul ring Ma Xiaodao had ever seen. There were even 9 golden patterns on it. What is this? Ma Xiaodao was already stunned. Young miss, don't be silly. I've been ordered by my master to become your spirit. I brought you 3 900,000-year soul rings and a 10,000-year torso bone. Don't be surprised. I'm an existence that coexists with you from now on. My name is Heavenfire. Please take care of me in the future. A crisp female voice sounded. In front of Ma Xiaotao, a red-haired beauty suddenly appeared. She was wearing a red dress and looked neat and tidy. You're a soul beast? Ma Xiaotao looked at her in shock. Yes, please take care of me. A red-haired woman smiled and stretched out her right hand. Oh, please take care of me. Ma Xiaodao also subconsciously stretched out her right hand. She felt that she wasn't hostile at all. She wasn't surprised at all. It was just that. Who's the master you're talking about? Ma Xiaodao suddenly asked. She suddenly had some guesses in her heart. Forgive me for not being able to tell you. My master said that when the time comes, he'll naturally tell you. A red-haired woman said. No need, I already know who it is. Ma Xiaodao suddenly interrupted her. That little rascal. He really has a lot of secrets. It seems that young miss has already guessed. Forget it, I can't do anything. Master, you're on your own now. A red-haired woman thought to herself. It transformed into a red light and entered Ma Xiaodao's body. Ma Xiaodao didn't dare to be surprised at all. It seemed that as long as it was related to that little rascal, she wouldn't be surprised at all. Thinking of this, Ma Xiaotao sorted out her emotions and walked out of the bathroom. She saw Yuhao sitting obediently on the sofa with his head lowered and both hands on his knees. There was a blush on his beautiful and cute face, and the ahogue on the top of his head kept swaying. He looked completely like a kitten that had done something wrong. He looked very lovable. Ma Xiaodao was immediately charmed by his cuteness. She subconsciously pinched the swaying ahogue on top of his head. Yuhao suddenly moaned, and his whole body trembled as if he had been electrocuted. He didn't know that the ahogue on top of his head was his most sensitive part. Yuhao suddenly stood up and lowered his head in apology. Sister Xiaodao, I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't see anything. I really didn't see anything. I won't tell anyone. Ma Xiaodao laughed. No, I should be the one apologizing. I didn't notice that you were in a weak state. Sister Xiaodao, can you let go first? Yuhao said weakly. Ma Xiaodao finally realized that she had been pinching his ahogue all this time, making Yuhao very uncomfortable. Ma Xiaodao immediately retracted her hand, a trace of disappointment on her face. Actually, it felt pretty good. Yuhao, do you want to be my little brother? I've always wanted a little brother since a long time ago. Don't worry, it's very good to be my little brother. If anyone bullies you, I'll burn them to ashes. Ma Xiaodao clenched her fists and said. She had already made up her mind long ago. Yuhao was stunned. He had experienced it before, but why did he feel so touched? Tears slowly flowed down his face, and he said softly, Sister, sister. Ma Xiaodao was very happy when she heard this and hugged Yuhao. That's great. I have a little brother. Don't worry. Little brother, I'll take good care of you. Ma Xiaodao didn't ask Yuhao about that soul beast. She knew that if Yuhao wanted to talk about it, he would. She didn't have to force him. She listened to Yuhao's words and hid her 7th soul ring temporarily. If she met those guys with bad intentions, she would be in trouble. The competition between Sun Moon and Emperor Ao was about to start today. Yuhao and the rest were watching the competition seriously. Xingluo Imperial City. 2 people glanced at Yuhao. Brother, I'm not convinced. We could have one. But Yuhao, he is a trump card. Princess Jujiu said coquettishly. Not convinced? Didn't you participate in the competition to find out his secrets? You've already found out some of his secrets. Why are you not convinced now? The Emperor of Xingluo laughed. When the competition started, he didn't give us a chance to attack. If we had attacked first, we would have one. She didn't realize that she was a little uncertain when she said that she would win. Do you think that you would have won even if he had let you attack first? You have to tell the truth. No, No, Su Jujio knew her limits. But we can definitely stall him for a while. Hee hee, do you believe me? Hui Yuhao definitely still has some trump cards up his sleeve. What? He's still hiding them? In the dark, two figures were watching Hui Yuhao, who was watching the competition. Second brother, it's him. The sect leader wants us to bring him back. He wants to make him the young sect leader of the sect. Oomph. How capable could such a child be? The sect leader wants to make him the young sect leader personally? Furthermore, he's on Shrek's side. His abilities are far inferior to young Master Long's. Although I don't know what the sect leader is thinking, this kid does have a body soul. Furthermore, he has twin body souls. His second body soul is the legendary Frost Dragon King. Furthermore, his body soul is the combination of the eyes and the brain, the spirit eyes. Such a magical martial soul has never appeared in the history of the body sect. There are only a few records that mention its existence. Have you forgotten? The first sect leader made a rule that if a kid had a spirit eyes martial soul in the future, he must be made the young sect leader. Although the successive sect leaders don't know why, there hasn't been a spirit eyes martial soul in the past 10,000 years. We'll go find him later and try to persuade him. If he doesn't agree, we'll forcefully take him away. Yes. After that, the competition ended very quickly. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy had entered the finals. Everyone was looking forward to tomorrow's battle between Shrek Academy and the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. These two old rivals, Hui Yuhao and the others, walked into the Grand Imperial Star Hotel's spacious hall. Just as they were about to go upstairs, they were blocked by two people. Wang Yin, who was in deep thought, was walking at the front. Being blocked by two people, he couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. He raised his head to look at them. They were two men. Their appearances were very ordinary, but their figures were very strange. One of them had an especially thick right arm, while the other was thin and small. His head was extremely large, like a big-headed doll. Wang Yin felt a chill in his heart. He lowered his voice and said, "Please make way." Hui Yuhao's train of thought was interrupted. He furrowed his brows as he looked at the two people in front of him. When he saw their appearance, his pupils shrank. Are they from the body sect? The man with the thick arm pointed at Hui Yuhao and said, "You can leave, but this person has to stay. We want to talk to him." Hui Yuhao said plainly, "I don't know you. What do you want?" The big-headed man looked at Hui Yuhao and smiled. "Don't we know each other now?" His gaze was very strange. It was unusually gentle. When Wang Yin and Su Sanshur saw his gaze, they were in a daze. Tang Dong was only stunned for a moment before he recovered. However, Hui Yuhao wasn't stunned at all. His gaze was still as deep as ever. It was very bright. The big-headed man's brain suddenly trembled. He groaned and took half a step back. The man with the thick right arm hurriedly supported him. Both of them looked at Hui Yuhao with astonishment in their eyes. The big-headed man looked at Hui Yuhao in disbelief. This kid's spiritual power is actually stronger than mine. We don't have any ill intentions. We just want to talk to you, Hui Yuhao. The big-headed man put away his usual arrogance. Since you want to talk, I'll accompany you, Hui Yuhao said. Tang Dong wanted to say something, but Hui Yuhao gave him a reassuring hand gesture. Wang Yin and the others had already recovered. Hui Yuhao's spiritual power could help them recover. They also heard Hui Yuhao's words. Wang Yin was still worried, so he wanted to go with Hui Yuhao. In the lounge, the big-headed man looked at Hui Yuhao and said, "Let me introduce myself first. I'm Langya, and this is my brother, Yutao. We're from the body sect. As for the body sect, I'm sure you've heard of it before, right?" Hui Yuhao's expression was as calm as ever. However, Wang Yan's eyes widened, and his pupils shrank. In the world of soul cultivators, the body school was extremely rare, but they were still a very famous existence. Among the few weirdos in the world of soul masters, evil soul masters were undoubtedly the number one. The only group that could compare to evil soul masters in terms of weirdness and strength was probably the body sect. This was because everyone in the body sect had a body soul. In the eyes of many soul masters, The body sect was even more frightening than evil soul masters. Although evil soul masters were strong, they appeared as individuals or in small groups. However, the body sect was a real sect. They were known as the #1 mysterious sect in the world. One could only imagine how formidable the body sect's overall strength was. We've received orders from the sect leader to bring you home. Young sect leader. Langya looked at Yuhao very seriously. Young sect leader? Wang Yin was stunned as he looked at Yuhao. Yuhao furrowed his brow. I'm not a young sect leader. I don't know what the body sect is. Please leave. Well, Yuhao didn't give them any face. Of course, he knew about the body sect. He also knew that Du Busi had entrusted him. In a sense, he was the future sect leader of the body sect. He didn't have any ill feelings towards the body sect. However, he was disgusted by these two people. After Yuhao finished speaking, he stood up and was about to leave. The two of them instantly changed their expressions. Since young sect leader isn't willing to return with us, then we'll offend you. Yuhao, with his thick right arm, suddenly stood up and stretched out his right hand. His thick and long arm almost instantly grabbed Yuhao's shoulder. His arm seemed to be able to stretch out naturally, and with just a stretch, it was more than 2 meters away from him. Yuhao's third eye suddenly opened in between his brows. Yuhao instantly looked over. A majestic suction force from his third eye started to absorb Yuhao's life, energy, and soul power. Ah! Yuhao screamed and pulled his right hand back. The two of them looked at Yuhao's third eye in shock. Even Wang Yin was astonished. Your body soul has awakened for the second time. Langya and Yuhao looked at Yuhao in disbelief. Yuhao snorted coldly. He touched his third eye with his right hand. Instantly, a green light drilled out and shot towards Langya. Langya's eyesight was still pretty good. He clearly saw what it was. It was a huge jade-green sword that was more than 2 meters long. Furthermore, they were certain that the suction force earlier was released by it. The two of them felt a dangerous aura. They immediately released their martial souls and soul rings. 4 purple and 4 black soul rings appeared beside them at the same time. They were actually Contra experts. Contra's aura directly shook off the life sword that was flying towards them. A strange thing happened. As the life sword flew backwards, a green light flashed and turned into a beautiful girl with jade green hair. She was about 10 years old and wore a simple white robe. Yuhao immediately caught the girl who was flying backwards. Little Ling, are you all right? Yuhao looked at the girl in his arms worriedly. The girl raised her head. Her naturally naive appearance was rather cute. Baitong looked at Yuhao blankly, then pointed at Langya and the others. They want to hurt Master. Little Ling wants to kill them. Idiot, with your current strength, you're no match for them. Yuhao reprimanded. The girl looked at Yuhao blankly and said, even if I'm no match for them, as long as Little Ling touches them and absorbs their life force, they'll be finished. They want to kill Master, so they deserve to die. Little Ling is truly undying. Apart from Master, even a ruler can't kill Little Ling. Master, please don't stop Little Ling. Little Ling wants to kill them. How can I not stop you? You're indeed undying, but with your current strength, you're no match for them. You can't even touch them. Little Ling can. No, you can't. Little Ling can. Little Ling it definitely can. No, you definitely can't. The 3 light bulbs at the side watched the conversation between the two of them. This girl is the sword just now? The 3 of them were extremely shocked. A sword that had turned into a person was naturally frightening. The 2 of them immediately recovered from their shock and prepared to attack again. At this moment, 2 chicken drumsticks flew over and smashed toward the 2 of them. Bang! The 2 of them were sent flying and crashed into the wall. The 2 chicken drumsticks flew back and landed in the hands of an old man sitting on the sofa who had appeared out of nowhere. The old man gnawed on the chicken drumsticks. That old monster Du Busi is getting more and more arrogant. He actually dares to steal my Shrek's people. Elder Xian, Wang Yin, and Yuhao were delighted. Little Ling tilted her head and glanced at Elder Xian. Who's this sloppy old man? Cough. Elder Xian almost choked. Huai Yuhao knocked Di Ling, Er's head, and lectured her. Don't talk nonsense, call me Elder Xian. With Elder Xian's strength, even if he can't kill you, he's more than capable of torturing you. Oh, hello, Elder Xian. Di Ling, greeted Elder Xian expressionlessly. Elder Xian only nodded. He didn't say anything. The two of them looked at Elder Xian in fear. Elder, are you an elder of the Poseidon Pavilion? Elder Xian said plainly, to think that you know the name of the Poseidon Pavilion. Hurry up and scram. On account of that old monster, I won't pursue this matter with the two of you. You don't have the right to do so. I don't want Dubusi to say that I bullied his juniors. Say, Elder, if we don't bring the young sect master back, the sect master will definitely blame us. The two of them trembled as they spoke. They were sure that this old man was from the same generation as the sect master. Otherwise, he wouldn't have called the sect master an old man. Just because he said that Yuhao is the young sect master, it's true? Go back and tell that old man that Yuhao is a member of the Poseidon Pavilion. He's the pavilion master of the Poseidon Pavilion. If he wants to snatch him away, let him come to Shrek personally. Hurry up and scram. Elder Xian snorted coldly. The two of them were shocked. They didn't expect Hui Yuhao to be so important to Shrek. They immediately replied in fear. Yes. We'll scram now. Then, they disappeared. Wang Yin and Hui Yuhao were already stunned. Elder Xian's words just now. Hui Yuhao is a member of the Poseidon Pavilion and the pavilion master of the Poseidon Pavilion. Shocked them. What's the Poseidon Pavilion? Can it be eaten? Little Ling asked in a daze. Okay, I admit, she's a naturally naive young lady. Elder Xian and Wang Yin almost fainted from shock. This girl is really, don't always think about eating. The Poseidon Pavilion is the core of Shrek. It was built to commemorate Poseidon Tang San. Hui Yuhao lectured. Poseidon Tang San? Oh, so it's him. He's not as powerful as Master. 10,000 years ago, he was defeated by Master. Whoa. Before little Ling could finish speaking, Hui Yuhao covered her mouth in a panic. Hurry up and go back. Don't cause any more trouble. Hui Yuhao shouted at her. Little Ling turned into a green light and entered Hui Yuhao's third eye. Master, little Ling is hungry. I want to eat metal. Little Ling muffled voice sounded in Hui Yuhao's ears. Little Ling was a special life form. She didn't eat human food. She only ate metal, energy, and the life force of any life form. Got it. I'll find one for you after the competition. Hui Yuhao slapped his forehead. However, he had to deal with the two people in front of him who were questioning him. Chapter 46. Elder Xian and the others were sent away by Hui Yuhao's words. At the same time, he told them that he wasn't the young sect leader of the body sect. They were the ones who called him young sect leader. They were sent away just like that. In the body sect, what? You failed? An elder stared at the two people kneeling on the ground. Weren't they Langya and Ning Tao? Please calm down, sect leader. The elder from Shrek's side suddenly appeared. He was a sloppy old man, and he defeated us with 2 drumsticks. Furthermore, he said that young Master Hua was a member of the Poseidon Pavilion. Therefore we, sloppy old man? Drumsticks? So it's Tao Tai. However, Shrek really went all out. He actually gave him such a big label. It seems like I have to make a trip to Shrek personally, the elder said coldly. Then, sect leader will take our leave. The two of them stood up and were about to leave. Stop! A cold female voice sounded. Instantly, the two of them trembled. The elder revealed a respectful expression and knelt down on one knee. Greetings, Lord Yu. Langya and Ning Tao hurriedly knelt down. They couldn't see through Lord Yu's abilities. Even their sect leader, Dubusi, was very respectful to her. Furthermore, it was said that she had lived for more than 10,000 years. This meant that Lord Yu could be a legendary rank 100 god. A lady wearing a purple dress and a purple veil suddenly appeared in front of the three of them. Her figure was very seductive, but no one dared to have any thoughts about her. This was because she had a katana and a blood-red scabbard on her left waist. The two of you, did you attack him? Lord Yu looked coldly at Langya and Ning Tao. The two of them trembled. Lord Yuika, there was the sound of a katana being unsheathed, and a blade radiance flashed. Cha! The two of them turned into a bloody mist and disappeared. The two soul bones lay on the ground. Clean up the soul bones and give them to those with potential. Lord Yu closed the katana that she had unsheathed. Yes, Lord Yu, Du Busi said respectfully and fearfully. Lord Yu's abilities were unfathomable. All right, Du Busi, come with me to Shrek in a few days. Lord Yu's voice rang out. Sir, don't tell me you went there personally to capture that Yuhao. Du Busi probed. Whoosh. A bottomless cut instantly appeared on the ground to Du Busi's right. Shut up. He wasn't just grabbing them, he was taking them. If you say anything bad about him again, I'll take your life. Yes. Yes. This subordinate knows his mistake. Today was the day of the finals. Shrek and the Sun Moon Soul Engineering Academy were going to fight. This was a fight between two rivals. Other than Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Xiao, everyone else had participated in the first team battle. However, in the end, Shrek's team chose to admit defeat. It was a strategic defeat. Although Ma Xiaodao could directly expose her abilities and crush them, she didn't do so. This was because her heavenly fire had helped her seal her rank 70 cultivation. She knew that she couldn't reveal her abilities so quickly. Furthermore, there were several titled Dolua here. If they saw her 7th soul ring, who knew if they would be greedy for it? A 900,000-year soul ring meant that she had a 900,000-year soul bone. After the battle, Ma Xiaodao and Yuhao's palms clashed. She felt the evil fire in her body being suppressed again. Actually, the heavenly fire phoenix could also suppress the evil fire. Heavenly fire was a flawless fire, and also the king of all fires. It was even stronger than ultimate fire. Even evil fire had to submit to heavenly fire. However, it only submitted to it, not suppressed it. Heavenly fire wasn't like ultimate ice or flawless ice, which could completely suppress evil fire. Just when Ma Xiaotao and Yuhao thought that it was about time, their soul power showed signs of fusing. Yuhao was the first to be astonished, followed by Ma Xiaodao. My soul power can actually fuse with Yuhao's? Yuhao furrowed his brow slightly. After that, he recalled something. There was a scene in his memory that took place at this point in time. It was at that time that he and his sister felt that their soul power and martial souls could fuse. However, after Ma Xiaotao was captured by evil soul masters, the two of them didn't continue to fuse. At that time, the two of them felt that their compatibility was more than 100%. It was even higher than Yuhao's compatibility with Wang Dong's. If they could successfully fuse, they might even be able to create a martial soul fusion skill. However, due to various reasons, they didn't try it. To Yuhao, he had almost forgotten about this matter. However, the fusion of ice and fire had actually appeared once again. Yuhao was certain that his compatibility with his sister's martial soul had surpassed Tang Dong's. In other words, it was more than 100%. Furthermore, if they used a few more days, they would be able to create a martial soul fusion skill. That was what the two of them thought, but time didn't give them a chance. Under everyone's cheers, the two of them could only put this matter aside for now. Su Sanshur won 2 of the individual rounds, and even killed his opponent in the second round. Bei Bei won 1 round. Originally, Shrek's team had the advantage. However, Meng Hongshun from the Sun Moon Empire's team defeated Bei Bei and Ling Luochen consecutively. Although Meng Hongshun lost to Dai Yuebin in the 3rd round, and the Sun Moon Empire's team admitted defeat, Meng Hongshun also made Dai Yuebin lose his ability to fight. In other words, both teams only needed to win 2 rounds out of the final 2, 3, and they would be crowned champions. Under Yuhao's acupuncture, the poison in Bei Bei and Ling Luochen's bodies had been expelled. They only needed to rest for a few days. Yuhao raised his head to look at the dark sky. A few drops of rain fell on his face, and his eyes suddenly became very calm. It's raining, Yuhao. Before Ma Xiaodao could say anything, Yuhao spoke first. Sister, I know what you're planning to do. You must be careful. Be careful of Ma Rulong. Yuhao said to Ma Xiaodao very seriously. Ma Xiaodao was stunned. Then she laughed. You little rascal, don't you know how strong I am? I can just burn them to ashes. I'll definitely return victorious. After Ma Xiaodao finished speaking, she had already gone up the stage. She suddenly became very serious. She understood that when Yuhao said to be careful of Ma Rulong, it meant that Ma Rulong's strength was definitely not simple. 2-2-3 start. Ma Xiaodao versus Ma Rulong and that guy I don't know. Anyway, I don't know him. The match had been going on for a long time. However, Ma Xiaodao was still careless. She was struck by a streak of black light from Ma Rulong's judgment sword, which was enhanced by the Class 7 auxiliary type soul tool, the chapter of sacrifice. Instantly, the evil fire in Ma Xiaodao's body started to rage. Ma Xiaodao lowered her head and clutched her chest. She tried her best to suppress the evil fire in her body. Her entire body was trembling nonstop. If one observed carefully, there were a few streaks of black mixed in the flames around her. The red flames were dyed red and black. After that, they were dyed black. It was a strange black. Following this, Ma Xiaodao stopped struggling. She slowly lifted her head. Her eyes had turned pitch black. Even her fiery red hair was dyed red and black. Oh no! Two people shouted. The first one was Elder Xian, and the second one was Yuhao. Elder Xian naturally knew what Ma Xiaodao's actions meant. It meant that she had gone berserk. On the other hand, Yuhao shouted, Damn it! What's Heavenly Fire doing? Why isn't she stopping the evil fire? Yuhao shouted in his heart. After this, he thought about it and roughly figured out why. The flawless fire and heavenly fire could only make the evil fire submit temporarily. It was only a temporary submission. It could not completely suppress the evil fire. Ma Xiaodao's spiritual sea. Heavenly fire looked at the black flames around her. She furrowed her brows. It's a little difficult. It seems like I can only temporarily possess her body to help her. I hope she can still be saved. Otherwise, it'll be bad if Master gets angry. On the stage, the illusory black phoenix behind Ma Xiaodao roared into the sky. Seeing that Ma Xiaodao was about to go berserk, Elder Xian prepared to intervene. However, Yuhao stopped him. Elder Xian, wait a moment. Look. Yuhao pointed at Ma Xiaodao. Elder Xian looked over carefully. Suddenly, his pupils shrank. That was because the black phoenix was slowly changing color. It was turning a very bright red. Following this, 7 soul rings revolved around her. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black, and 1 red soul ring. Yes, there were 7 of them. How is this possible? Instantly, everyone was in the same state of mind. Everyone cried out in surprise, shock and astonishment. Ma Xiaodao was actually a 7-ring soul sage. This was too shocking. In the history of Doloa, the only person who could break through to 7-ring before the age of 20 was Ancestor Tangyu from 10,000 years ago. He was a monster. According to some ancient historical records, he became a soul sage when he was 14 and a Contra when he was 16. He became a titled Doloa before he was 19. He became a rank 100 god when he was 20. Although everyone was skeptical about this record and no one believed it. That was a little off topic. Let's continue with the main topic. Ma Xiaodao was 19 this year. She would only be 20 in a few months. A soul sage before the age of 20 was already an extremely strong individual among the strongest soul cultivators. Furthermore, she was a soul sage before the age of 20. She could defeat all the participating students in the tournament. Ma Xiaodao would definitely be a pillar of support for Shrek in the future. That was what everyone thought. Following that, they realized that her 7th soul ring was red. It was a very bright red. If one looked closely, they would see that there were 9 golden patterns on the bright red soul ring. However, some soul masters frowned. How did Ma Xiaodao suddenly become a soul sage? And her 7th soul ring was red? Also, Ma Xiaodao clearly had 6 soul rings before, but now she had a bright red one. Of course, this shocked all the powerful soul masters. No one looked closely at the bright red soul ring. Otherwise, they would have seen the 9 golden patterns. Right now, some of the powerful soul masters had a hint of greed in their eyes. However, they immediately suppressed it, because she was a student of Shrek Academy. They couldn't afford to offend her. Elder Xian frowned. He glanced at Yuhao and saw that he saw the smile on Yuhao's face. If one didn't look closely, they wouldn't have noticed that the corners of Yuhao's mouth were curled up. Did Yuhao do this? On the stage, Ma Xiaodao raised her head. Her dark red hair had turned bright red. Her pupils had also changed from black to bright red. She glanced at Ma Rulong and the walk-on in front of her. What nonsense is this judgment sword? It's just a piece of scrap metal. How dare it try to judge a phoenix? She said coldly. However, this wasn't her voice. This voice actually carried a feeling of contempt for everything. Suddenly, Ma Xiaotao's torso glowed red. A torso bone. Some of the powerful soul masters stared at the glowing torso in shock. In an instant, with Ma Xiaotao as the center, a 50-meter radius around her turned into a sea of fire. Domain! Some of the powerful soul masters exclaimed in disbelief. Some of the gifted soul masters would awaken a domain after reaching 7-ringed. In their domain, their strength would increase exponentially. This was one of the 2 soul skills of the 900,000-year Heavenly Fire Phoenix's soul bone, Heavenly Fire Domain. In this domain, all fire would be controlled. Furthermore, this domain had an incredible ability. In this domain, the owner of the domain would not die. It was like a raging fire that never stopped growing. Furthermore, in this domain, all fire-type attacks would be doubled. Ma Rulong and the walk-on felt the terrifyingly high temperature around them. Their sweat evaporated, and even their clothes began to melt. In the air, Ma Xiaotao's torso bone glowed again. She had released the soul bone's second soul skill. A pair of illusory bright red wings suddenly spread out behind Ma Xiaotao's back. There was also a long, illusory, bright red tail. All the fire elements in the surroundings began to attack her body. In an instant, she was like a human-shaped phoenix surrounded by flames. From afar, she was as dazzling as a small sun. Phoenix Sun Incineration. The torso bone's second soul skill. A destructive AoE attack. Regardless of friend or foe, the small sun charged towards the ground at an extremely fast speed. Ma Rulong and the walk-on felt the arrival of the Grim Reaper. Oh no! Tian Shadao cursed inwardly. It wasn't that he didn't want to stop her, but that terrifying aura made even him tremble. He actually felt a trace of fear in his heart. He hurriedly flew out of the arena. In the next moment, boom, boom, there was a huge explosion, and the stage was instantly engulfed in a sea of fire. Even the surrounding space began to distort, but there weren't any screams. No, on the Sun-Moon side, Elder Ma screamed in horror. His son Ma Rulong was inside. Under the amplification of the Heavenly Fire Domain, the frightening power of the Phoenix Sun Incineration could even severely injure a Contra. The Phoenix Sun Incineration, the name of the Mad Demon. In the future, this unforgettable scene would be recorded. After a few minutes, the sea of fire slowly disappeared. There was a burnt smell on the stage. Ma Xiaotao just stood there, and there was a huge sword beside her. Wasn't that the Judgment Sword? However, Ma Rulong and the walk-on's corpses were nowhere to be seen. Silence, complete silence. Whether it was the Emperor of Xingluo, the White Tiger Duke, or the other competitors and spectators, they were all stunned. Even the White Tiger Duke felt the aura of death under that power. This also meant that if he took it head-on, even if he didn't die, he would be half dead. My son, team leader, Brother Ma. On the Sun-Moon side, Elder Ma, the main team, and the preparatory team exclaimed. Ma Xiaotao glared at them fiercely, and they immediately shut their mouths. She was too frightening. She glanced at the Tian Shadao, who was still in a daze. Hurry up and announce the results. The Tian Shadao was stunned. Sure, Shrek wins. First, there was silence. Then there were loud cheers. Ma Xiaotao looked at Shrek's side. To be precise, she was looking at Yuhao. I try my best. She transmitted her voice. You've worked hard. Yuhao transmitted his voice. Ma Xiaotao smiled. Suddenly, she retracted her martial soul, and her soul ring disappeared. She immediately fell down. Instantly, Yuhao rushed to the stage and hurriedly supported Ma Xiaotao. Ma Xiaotao's evil fire was temporarily suppressed. The possibility of her becoming an evil soul master was greatly reduced. There was only a 40% chance. As for the judgment sword, Yuhao took it away. He said that he wanted to use it as a research sample. Originally, the Sun Moon side wanted to rush up and take back the judgment sword. However, because Elder Xian was there, they retreated. After some reorganization, the stage was finally fixed. The second round was about to begin. This was also the last round that would determine the winner. Yuhao and Tang Dong versus Xiao Hongchun and Meng Hongchun. Let's see how a soul elder will beat a soul king. Sister, I have to admit that I was wrong about Shrek Academy in the past. Shrek is really strong. He's ridiculously strong, terrifyingly strong, and mysteriously strong. As expected of Shrek, Xiao Hongchun no longer had any arrogance on his face. His injuries had more or less recovered, and his face was only a little pale. Meng Hongchun sighed softly. If all of their main team members are here, I'm afraid we still won't have a chance. The rain was getting heavier. Yuhao stretched out his right hand. The raindrops hit his palm, and strangely, the raindrops froze into ice beads. Crack! Yuhao squeezed hard. Yuhao looked at Xiao Hongchun. Come, Xiao Hongchun, let me see how strong you are. Xiao Hongchun became very serious. As you wish. Yuhao. Meng Hongchun looked at Yuhao with a strange look in her eyes. Tang Dong seemed to sense something. He looked at Meng Hongchun coldly. What's with that look? Xiao Hongchun, 5-ring soul king, martial soul, 3-legged golden toad, class 5 soul engineer. Meng Hongchun, 5-ring soul king, martial soul vermilion ice toad, class 5 soul engineer. Yuhao, 3-ring soul elder, martial soul spirit eyes, icy dragon king. Tang Dong, 3-ring soul elder, martial soul radiant dragon king, heavenly emperor's hammer. Both parties released their martial souls and soul rings. Yuhao and Tang Dong's soul rings were very attractive. 1 white, 2 black, and 3 black. The combination of their soul rings was much more impressive than their opponents' 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black soul rings. The Xingluo Emperor and the White Tiger Duke didn't talk anymore. Their palms were pressed against the battlements, and they were nervously watching the match. The White Tiger Duke squinted his eyes, and his eyes shone brightly. When he saw Yuhao, he suddenly had a strange feeling. He couldn't explain it, but Yuhao naturally attracted his attention. He didn't know why. Furthermore, this kid gave him a sense of familiarity. He actually saw Yun Er's shadow in him. Tang Dong opened his platinum-colored dragon wings and flew forward with Yuhao. Meng Hongchun tapped her toes on the ground, and her delicate body flickered. She waved her thin swords gently, and 2 light blades slashed towards Wang Dong's path. He even kindly reminded him, "Be careful." "Thank you for the reminder. You have to be careful too." Yuhao raised his hands, and the rainwater around them suddenly gathered in front of them, forming a water shield. Following this crack, there was the sound of ice forming. It was directly frozen into an ice shield. It blocked the light blades. This, Meng Hongchun was stunned. He actually gathered the surrounding water elements to form a shield and froze it into a solid form. This made his defensive abilities very strong. "Aren't you ice type? Why can you control water type?" Meng Hongchun didn't understand. Ice is formed by water. Ice is the solid form of water, and water is the liquid form of ice. Therefore, it's not surprising that I can control water. Yuhao explained to her. "I see. I've learned something." Meng Hongchun laughed. Hey, sister, what are you doing? Hurry up and attack. Don't chat." Xiao Hongchun gathered his soul tools behind them and shouted hurriedly. Meng Hongchun released an icy fog, which contained lethal poison. Yuhao and Tang Dong curled their lips at the same time. I'm sorry. My ultimate ice is infinite ice, and all ice can only submit to it. As for poison, ice isn't afraid of poison. My ultimate light can purify all impurities in the world. Frost poison is nothing to me. Suddenly, two bursts of dragon's might shot out. They dispersed the icy fog and suppressed Meng Hongshun. Meng Hongshun seemed to hallucinate. There seemed to be two huge figures behind Yuhao and Tang Dong. One was an icy blue dragon, while the other was a white gold dragon. Following this, something that shocked Xiao Hongshun and Meng Hongshun happened. Around Yuhao and Tang Dong, 6 identical Yuhao and Tang Dong appeared. Avatars? That was what everyone thought. However, some powerful individuals didn't think so. That was because these avatars could move. They also had life. Xiao Hongshun's 100 soul cannons were fully charged. A dark golden chain connected to Meng Hongshun and pulled her back. After this, Xiao Hongshun stared coldly at the 7 Yuhao and Tang Dong that were charging towards them. I don't care which one of you is real or fake. I'll blast all of you to death. 100 soul cannons were fired at once. Boom! 100 soul cannons penetrated the 7 Yuhao and Tang Dong. Instantly, they turned into water and scattered on the ground. They're all fake? Xiao Hongshun and Meng Hongshun were shocked. Suddenly, 2 people hugging each other appeared not far away from them. Behind them, there was a huge vertical eye and a huge, illusory golden hammer. They fused with each other. An illusory figure appeared behind them. It was a figure whose appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Only a golden vertical eye could be seen on its forehead. There was also a huge golden vertical eye behind it. Instantly, countless small hammers were spat out from the vertical eye. They started to rotate in an orderly manner. They formed a huge tornado made of small hammers. Third martial soul fusion skill. Illusory misty, spiritual chaos tempest. Xiao Hongshun and Meng Hongshun were shocked. The two of them hugged each other hurriedly and started to fuse their soul power. A beam of golden and icy blue light shot into the sky and instantly engulfed their bodies. Another martial soul fusion skill. Everyone's blood was boiling. Martial soul fusion skill versus martial soul fusion skill. That was something that was rarely seen even in 1,000 years. They actually saw it today. If they didn't remember wrongly, this was Yuhao's 3rd martial soul fusion skill. The beam of light that rose from Xiao Hongshun and Meng Hongshun's side started to change. The beam of light condensed in the air and turned into the shape of a huge toad. The strangest thing was that when the light condensed on the toad's body, its color started to change. The 3-legged golden toad's golden color and the vermilion clear ice toad's icy blue color had completely disappeared. All that was left was a metallic red color. The reddish gold color made this huge toad, which was 5 meters tall, extremely beautiful. Its eyes were black. When it opened its mouth, a reddish gold whirlpool could be faintly seen spinning violently in its mouth. It seemed like it was going to spit out at any time. Xiao Hongshun's voice resounded throughout the entire arena. Take this. Hongshun's yearning. The spiritual chaos tempest and Hongshun's yearning collided. The spiritual chaos tempest was only a spiritual attack. If it didn't hit its opponent, it couldn't unleash its full strength. Hongshun's yearning continued to rush towards Yuhao and the others. The illusory figures were about to be engulfed. Tian Shadalaw and Elder Xian were about to save them. However, in the next moment, everyone saw 2 huge figures appear. The illusory icy blue dragon and the white gold dragon started to fuse together. In an instant, bluish gold light filled the entire arena. It covered the entire stage. When the light dissipated, everyone could only see a huge blue-gold egg. Then, Kacha, the eggshell cracked. Roar! 2 loud dragon roars rang out. 2 figures rushed out from inside. One was icy blue and the other was white gold. The icy blue figures were a male and a female. They seemed to be around 20 years old. The male's icy blue hair fluttered in the wind. His skin was fair, and there was a hint of gentleness in his handsomeness. The icy blue armor suited him very well. The icy blue dragon wings were on his back. He held an icy blue halberd in his hand, and he looked like an invincible divine general from the 9 heavens. He was domineering and enchanting. The female had a head of white gold hair that fluttered in the wind. She was extremely beautiful, and her figure was perfect. The white gold dragon wings spread open behind her back. She wore a thin feather coat and a thin rainbow-colored dress. She held a white gold scepter in her hand, and she looked like an otherworldly goddess who had descended to the mortal world. The two of them were like an immortal couple that had been blessed by the heavens. They didn't care about the Hongqin's yearning that was attacking them. The two of them were like a grown-up Yuhao and a female version of Tang Dong. The male threw his halberd into the sky, and it stopped in midair. The male extended his hand elegantly, as if inviting the female to dance. The female accepted it naturally. She also threw her scepter into the air. The two weapons started to fuse in midair, and the two of them started to dance in midair. Their beautiful dance attracted the crowd, and their smiles were mesmerizing. 2 huge dragons suddenly appeared above their heads. The icy blue dragon and the white gold dragon. In that instant, the sky changed color. The top was icy blue, while the bottom was white gold. An invisible force immediately dispersed the Hongqin's yearning. The two weapons fused into a light projection. It was a long spear, and it rushed toward Xiao Hongxun and Meng Hongxun. The force directly knocked the dazed Xiao Hongxun and Meng Hongxun off the stage. After the dance, the long spear flashed again. It turned into a halberd and a scepter and returned to the male and female's hands. Then, the two of them smiled and bowed at a perfect 30-degree angle. Today's Dance of the Twin Dragons ends here. Thank you for watching. The male and female voices sounded. Then, the two of them released an icy blue and white gold radiance. The radiance dissipated, and Yuhao and Tang Dong supported each other. Yes, they'd won. Instantly, the entire arena was in an uproar. They were cheering. Prince Charming. Goddess. These were the cheers that were the most common. Tiansha Doa Huang Jinshu took in a deep breath. Then he said loudly, "This year's Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament has ended. The final champion is the Shrek Academy." The cheers reached a peak after his announcement. The entire Xingluo Plaza was in an uproar. Even the nobles and ministers of the Xianra Empire couldn't help but shout. Xingluo's emperor, Su Jiawei, was a little flushed. He was also very emotional. That devastatingly beautiful figure was also imprinted in the depths of his heart. Compared to him, the White Tiger Duke was a lot calmer. He looked at the pair of youths who were hugging each other and smiled. You've achieved success at such a young age. You'll definitely achieve great things in the future. After that, it was time to announce the rewards. 3 soul bones, the champion's reward, and the Ice Jade Scorpion left arm bone. It was specially given to Yuhao. Everyone knew what happened after that. After a few days, everyone finally returned to the Shrek Academy. They were treated like heroes. Bei Bei, Yuhao, and the rest were conferred the title of Shrek 7 for life. Their deeds were recorded in the annals of history. The 7 of them also came to the Poseidon Pavilion. They were unconditionally conferred the title of Inner Courtyard Disciples. The 7 of them could cultivate in the high-grade cultivation room for a month in a quiet room in the Poseidon Pavilion. Ma Xiaodao was lying quietly on a large bed that was completely white and smooth. She looked very weak, and her face was very pale. 2 people were quietly standing beside the bed. The one on the left was the dean of the Shrek Academy's Martial Soul Department, Yin Xiaozhe. The one standing beside him was an old man with 1 foot in the grave. The old man didn't seem to be able to straighten his back. Although he was standing there, his back seemed to be bent at a 90-degree angle. He was using a walking stick to support his body. "Teacher, what do you think of Xiaodao's state during the competition?" Yin Xiaozhe asked the old man. "I can feel that Xiaodao's evil fire has been temporarily suppressed by an enormous force within her body. Furthermore, Shouthouse Phoenix flames seem to be undergoing a metamorphosis. The flames are automatically repelling the evil fire. If the repelling succeeds, Shouthouse flames will surpass all other flames. She'll even be able to surpass the solar core fire if she's given enough time. She might even be able to reach the flawless fire realm recorded in Dolua's virtues. She'll be a powerful martial soul that's on par with Yuhao's flawless ice. Doesn't Yuhao possess ultimate ice? He doesn't possess ultimate ice. He definitely doesn't. How can the Glacial Dragon King's martial soul be as simple as ultimate ice? Chapter 47. Sun and Moon. The Hall Master of the illustrious Virtue Hall, Jing Hongchun, came to a quiet room without any windows. The layout of this quiet room was also completely made of metal. Whether it was the ceiling, the floor, or the surrounding walls, they were all covered with metal carvings. In the center of the room, there was a square-shaped metal pillar. The metal pillar was about 1.5 meters tall, and there was something placed on top of it. It was a wooden tray, and there were at least 100 different colored gems embedded on it. On this wooden tray, there was a ball of air current that was rippling. This ball of air current was white, and it was gentle like air current. However, its shape was faintly discernible, but it was hard to tell how magical it was. That's right, this Mutual was the final item of the Starlight Auction House's top auction, the Divine Seal Altar. It was also sealing a 100,000-year soul beast embryo. The Hall Master of the illustrious Virtue Hall squinted his eyes as he stood in front of the God-sealing altar. He actually spoke to the 100,000-year soul beast embryo. I can feel that you're very strong, unimaginably strong. My conjecture has been proven through various experiments. You're not an ordinary 100,000-year soul beast. You're a savage beast. Although I don't know how a 200,000-year savage beast like you managed to cultivate back into an embryo, anyone who tries to absorb you and turn you into a soul ring or a soul bone will definitely die a horrible death. That's because I can feel that even a titled Deloitte would find it difficult to absorb your strength. They might even suffer a backlash. Am I right? I'm very clear about the background of the Sionra Empire's Starlight Auction. They're from the Sionra Empire's royal family. They put you up for auction to create trouble for me. They want you to think about who created this God-sealing altar. At the same time, they want to use this to lure powerful individuals from all over the continent to attack the illustrious Virtue Hall. What's the point of that? Let them come. Instead, it's a test of the illustrious Virtue Hall's defensive capabilities. The disciples of the illustrious Virtue Hall shouldn't be living too comfortably, right? It's a pity that the Sionra Empire made a huge mistake. They didn't see through your true abilities. So, in fact, the one who really benefited was this Hall Master. You're not an ordinary 100,000-year soul beast. You're a soul beast that hasn't broken through the bottleneck yet. You're at least a 200,000-year soul beast, right? What I'm curious about is that, according to what we humans know about you, soul beasts only have a chance to recultivate into a human once every 100,000 years. But why are you still able to do this when you haven't succeeded in breaking through to the peak? This really made me very curious. Don't worry, with me here, you will definitely be put to good use. I will study you carefully and squeeze out every bit of your strength. Only then can you live up to your cultivation of at least 200,000 years. That's great. Perhaps I can even help you break through that bottleneck and become a transcendent soul beast. After that, I can strip you of your strength. It's very difficult for soul cultivators to absorb your strength, but it's not impossible for me to do so. Unfortunately, I already have all 9 rings, so I can only give your power to that genius grandson of mine. We'll be a family in the future. Actually, you should rejoice because there are too few treasures that can make this Hall Master value so much. Do you know what the greatest pain is when someone reaches the peak? It's the lack of happiness. However, I have this feeling from you. Furthermore, I believe that this happiness will accompany me for a long time. But then, the ball of white gas turned into an adorable 2-year-old baby girl. She stared coldly at Jing Hongchun. She lifted her hand. Boom! A terrifying, formless energy shot out from it. It pierced through the god ceiling stage and crashed into Jing Hongshan's body. Ah! Jing Hongshan screamed in pain and flew backwards. He crashed into the wall. The formless force left a huge palm print on the wall. Jing Hongshan was inside the palm print. The baby girl clapped her hands and said coldly, "You've disturbed my rest. You're really noisy. Do you really think that you can trap me with this piece of scrap metal? If not for the fact that I have to wait for my father to come and fetch me, I wouldn't be bothered to stay in this lousy place. Oh yes, let me tell you something. Your evaluation of my abilities is too low. If I want to, I can destroy the Doluo continent with a single slap. So, you better take care of yourself and your grandson. Do you think you can do anything to me? It's good enough that I don't destroy your academy and the Sun Moon Empire. You're not even qualified to carry my father's shoes. Just because I don't want to kill you doesn't mean that I don't dare to. Scram, don't disturb my rest." After that, the baby girl turned into white gas again. Cough, cough, cough. How can there be such a powerful soul beast? Jing Hongshan was horrified as he looked at the white gas that had calmed down. Right now, all the bones in his body were almost broken. She didn't even attack seriously. She only lifted her hand gently. It had been many days since Shrek's award ceremony. The 7 monsters were cultivating in the advanced cultivation room. Wang Yin spent the entire day in Shrek's book collection house, library. He had been reading Doluo's morals because there was too much information in it. Regardless of whether it was knowledge about martial souls, soul beasts, cultivation, the universe, or some secret history of the godly realm, it was very difficult to read. Doluo's virtues had detailed records. There were very few people who could read Doluo's virtues seriously. There were less than 10 people in the past 10,000 years. This was because Doluo's virtues was very thick, and some of the information was very profound. Every generation of pavilion masters and deans would read Doluo's virtues, but there were very, very few people who could read it seriously. The advanced cultivation room was the cultivation room under the golden tree in the Poseidon Pavilion. It was said that the golden tree was a rare spiritual item that the 2 brothers, Tang San and Tang Yu, cultivated together 10,000 years ago. In the end, the 2 of them planted the seedling in Shrek's core and formed the current Poseidon Pavilion. Bei Bei, Hikaitu, Su Sanshur, Jiang Nanan, Xiao Xiao, Hui Yuhao, and Tang Dong's cultivation speed doubled. Bei Bei was already at rank 50, so he could only compress his cultivation. Hikaitu had already broken through by 1 rank and was at rank 49. Su Sanshur had just reached the rank 50 bottleneck and was compressing his cultivation like Bei Bei. Jiang Nanan was at rank 48 and was advancing towards rank 49. Xiao Xiao had broken through by 2 ranks and was at rank 35. Tang Dong immediately soared to rank 39. Of course, the most monstrous was Hui Yuhao. He was at the rank 40 bottleneck and would become a soul ancestor after obtaining a soul ring. A 12-year-old soul ancestor. This had never happened before in history. That's because they didn't know about Tang Yu's existence. Elder Mu and Hui Yuhao had a short conversation. They talked about spiritual power and how Hui Yuhao's second martial soul had lasted for 100,000 years. Your spirit eye's martial soul's 3 soul rings are all amazing. The last 2 are actually a 100,000-year soul ring, and your first white soul ring contains divinity. It's getting harder and harder for me to see through you. Your cultivation speed is exceptionally fast, and there aren't any negative effects at all. I can't see through one of the 2 dragon scales on your chest, but does the other one belong to the beast god? Elder Mu's words shocked Hui Yuhao. Hui Yuhao didn't intend to lie. He told Elder Mu that he had been adopted by a huge black dragon, a huge gold-and-silver dragon, and many other soul beasts in the Great Stardow Forest when he was young. Elder Mu was also one of his most trusted relatives. There was nothing to hide. However, his answer shocked Elder Mu. He didn't expect Hui Yuhao to have been adopted by soul beasts when he was young. Furthermore, they were soul beasts from the slaughtering grounds in the core of the Great Stardow Forest. In the underground hall, Elder Mu was in the center of the hall, and he was lying on his recliner. Yin Xiaozhe and Xian Lin were on either side of him. Yin Xiaozhe asked softly, "Teacher, are you really not going to ask him? Yuhao is too mysterious." If not for the fact that soul beasts can have twin martial souls, I would have thought that he was a soul beast. He said that he was adopted by a slaughtering ground. Is that true? Could he be from the Sun Moon Empire? There's no need to ask anymore. This child is human. Even though he seems to have a few streaks of the Frost Dragon King's bloodline in his body, I think it has something to do with his second martial soul's intelligence. Furthermore, I personally went to the Sun Moon Empire. The Sun Moon Empire's people have darker skin, and there's a burning sensation in their bloodlines. However, Yuhao doesn't have that. Instead, the bloodline in his body gives off a cold and arrogant feeling. Therefore, this child isn't a spy from the Sun Moon Empire. If it were you, would you be willing to send a child with twin martial souls, one of which is a flawless martial soul, and a rare talent in soul tools to be a spy? He's also not a spy sent by the Stardow Forest savage beasts. They signed a treaty with their ancestors, and they won't enter the human world for no reason. This child doesn't seem to be lying either. The huge black dragon is obviously the beast god. The huge dark golden bear and the jade green swan are the dark golden terraclaw bear king, the bear lord, and the emerald swan by G. As for the huge golden silver dragon, I don't remember it being one of the 10 great savage beasts. It should be a soul beast that we don't know about. If Yuhao hadn't seen them with his own eyes, he wouldn't have been able to describe their appearances and the scenery in the slaughtering ground. Perhaps Yuhao really did come from there. Bei Bei, Tangya, and the rest met Yuhao outside the Great Stardow Forest. This proves that Yuhao really did come from inside the Great Stardow Forest. This also proves why he has so many 100,000-year soul rings. Perhaps those savage beasts helped him. However, I don't understand why those savage beasts are so nice to Yuhao. Yuhao's character is very good, and I believe in him. I've liked this kid since the first time I met him. I believe that he'll tell us if he wants to one day. Let's not force him. Yes, in Hui Yuhao's cultivation room, Hui Yuhao's spiritual power was about to reach the concrete material realm. Right now, he was thinking about a problem. There are many realms in spiritual power. Why can't I divide them? Yes, I've decided. I'll divide the realms of spiritual power in the future. He didn't know that his division would bring about huge changes to people 10,000 years later. It would even cause a storm in spiritual power cultivation a few hundred years later. Hui Yuhao and the rest came out of their closed-door cultivation. Elder Mu gave Hui Yuhao and Tang Dong a soul bone each. Hui Yuhao naturally got the Ice Jade Scorpion left arm bone. Tang Dong's. Oh, it's called the Broken Devil of Light. As for Xiao Xiao, I didn't see her. Forget it. It's not that important anyway. Following this, the three of them returned to the outer courtyard. Yes, they happened to see Class 1 and Class 2's friendly duel. Hence, Hui Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Xiao went up directly. Hui Yuhao alone had instantly crushed Dai Huabin, Zhu Lu, Xie Huanyue, and the rest. After defeating the 7 of them, Hui Yuhao looked down on them and said, "Do you really think there's no one in Class 1? They were aggrieved. Hui Yuhao's abilities had completely left them in the dust. But at this moment, a strange and shocking roar suddenly rang out in the sky. "Little Xian, come out for this old man." This voice didn't sound loud at first, but it sounded like a rumble in their ears. It was as if thunder had exploded in their minds. What was even more frightening was that this voice enveloped the entire Shrek Academy. It was just a few simple words, but it made the Shrek Academy feel as if dark clouds were pressing down on the city. Yin Xiaozhe's expression changed. He said in a low voice, "Not good. An expert is coming. Varen, immediately order all the students to return to their classrooms. I'll make a move first." As he spoke, Yin Xiaozhe's body shook, and he shot out like lightning. His target wasn't in the direction of the voice, but Hui Yuhao, who had just left the soul dueling area. At this moment, Hui Yuhao had just walked a short distance away. When he heard this sudden voice, he was shocked. He furrowed his brows, but they soon relaxed. That old bastard, he's really here. To be honest, he missed Du Busi a little. Duke Busi only did things according to his own preferences, but he was very principled. He wouldn't do anything outrageous. Before he died, he entrusted the body sect to Yuhao. However, Yuhao didn't fulfill his promise for various reasons. Every time he thought about this, he would feel guilty. A gentle white light floated over and enveloped Yuhao, Wang Dong, and Xiao Xiao. Don't resist. I'll bring you to Poseidon Island. Yin Xiaozhi's voice rang in their ears. In the next moment, they felt as if they were riding on clouds, and their surroundings were completely white. Zhou, Yi, and the student from Class 1, who were originally with them, only felt a flash of white light. Yuhao and the other two disappeared. Old Monster Do, why aren't you staying at home? Why are you here at Shrek? Are you looking for trouble? Elder Xian's deep voice rang out in the air above the Shrek Academy. A bright yellow light shot into the sky. The eye-catching radiance instantly enveloped the entire academy. Not only that, but an incomparably tyrannical aura suddenly burst forth from within the Shrek Academy. It was like a wave of air that shot into the sky. What is Shrek Academy? Little Xian, are you trying to bully us with your numbers? Then let's compete. That voice rang out once more. Streaks of intense light shot into the sky outside the Shrek Academy. There were at least 20 streaks of light that shot into the sky. Every single streak of light that shot into the sky was condensed and didn't dissipate. This was especially true for the dark green pillar of light that was at the very front. It was extremely thick, and its light even seemed to cover up the other pillars behind it. Elder Xian stood in the air above Poseidon Island and said coldly, "Old Monster Do, are you planning to start a war with our Shrek Academy? What exactly are you trying to do?" Elder Xian had already guessed that they might have come for Yuhao. A figure slowly appeared from the dark green light in the distance. It was a tall old man with long, dark green hair that draped behind his back. However, the funny thing was that he didn't have any hair on his head. He was actually bald. The old man's face was as rosy as a baby's, and he didn't even have many wrinkles. The only thing that allowed one to tell his age was the vicissitudes of life in his dark green eyes. The 20 pillars of light behind the old man lined up in a row and gradually revealed their figures. They were of different shapes and sizes, but all of them were top-notch experts that were able to float in mid-air with their cultivations. Even the weakest of them was at the Contra level. It was impossible for them to take the initiative to find trouble with the Shrek Academy without sufficient strength. These people clearly didn't come with good intentions. Figures slowly rose into the sky from the Shrek Academy's side. Over at the teaching block, countless students were leaning against the windows and looking at the scene in the sky in the distance. All of them were in a daze. A confrontation between top-notch experts like this wasn't something that could be seen all the time. Even the inner courtyard disciples were seeing it for the first time. Elder Xian didn't seem to be anxious at all. He didn't seem to be worried at all. He said coldly, "Dubusi, what are you trying to do today? Is the body sect looking for the Shrek Academy first when they're about to reappear on the continent?" When the words body sect were mentioned, the expressions of some of the younger teachers behind Elder Xian turned serious. No wonder they dared to invade without any fear. They were from the body sect. The Shrek Academy and the body sect had always been on par with each other on the continent. The body sect also had a strong foundation. Dubusi snorted coldly and said, "Cut the crap. I don't want to fight with you. As long as you hand over the body sect's young sect leader, I'll leave immediately." Shrek's people were confused when they heard the words young sect leader. The body sect's young sect leader? How could he be in Shrek? Elder Xian furrowed his brows. He knew that Dubusi was talking about Yuhao. However, Yuhao wasn't from the body sect. This meant that the body sect had purposely given Yuhao an identity. How could they be so thick-skinned? Elder Xian said disdainfully, "What young sect leader?" The Shrek Academy doesn't have a young sect leader like you. Leave quickly. This is a warning. Bullshit. Quickly hand over Yuhao. He is the possessor of the spirit eyes, martial soul. He is our young sect master. You're indeed here for this kid. I'm sorry. Those two brats should have told you about Yuhao's status in Shrek. You're dreaming. Since that's the case, I'll just snatch him by force. Dubusi roared furiously. An intense dark green light shot into the sky and dyed half the sky dark green. His body also expanded rapidly. In the blink of an eye, he was more than 10 times bigger. His dark green skin bulged and turned into huge muscles that resembled granite. Only a pair of shorts protected the important parts of his body. Of course, those shorts were specially made. Otherwise, they would have been torn apart by his huge body. The most terrifying thing was his soul rings. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black, and 3 red soul rings. He actually had 300,000-year soul rings. When his martial soul was fully unleashed, its monstrous aura seemed like it was about to shatter the air. Old Xian's expression was grave as he roared and soared into the sky. Intense yellow light blossomed from his body. A strong aura was suddenly unleashed. The thick yellow light also propped up the sky above Shrek. Yellow and green were very distinct in the sky. However, his soul rings were inferior to Old Freak Dew's. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 4 black, and 1 red soul ring. He only had 100,000-year soul ring. This also meant that he had at least 200,000-year soul bones less than Old Monster. Elder Xian's transformation wasn't small either. As the intense yellow light enveloped him, a dull sound spread in the sky. The group of body sect members that Old Freak Dew had brought with him retreated 100 meters. When the yellow light expanded, Elder Xian's appearance had already changed. He had a goat's body, eyes under his armpits, tiger teeth, human claws, and a pair of huge bull horns. He was more than 30 meters long. In terms of size, he was even more majestic than Old Freak Dew. An intense yellow light burst forth, and the 9 soul rings turned into halos of light that circled around the pair of huge horns that were more than 5 meters long. Poseidon Island. Yuhao, tell me, are you the young sect leader of the body sect? Weren't you adopted by a soul beast? Elder Mu looked at Yuhao. I'm not the young sect leader of the body sect. My family left me when I was young. I could only leave home. When I came to the Great Star Dove Forest to search for my first soul ring, I almost lost my life there. When I woke up, I realized that I was floating on a jade green lake. There were many people on the shore. However, some of them had dragon horns, some had beast fur, and some had wings. They saved me and took me in. They gave me warmth. They told me a lot about soul beasts and cultivation. In the end, I found out that they were soul beasts that were more than 200,000 years old. But so what? So what if they were soul beasts? I only knew that they were my family. Yuhao said seriously. He seemed to have gone too far. Elder Mu was silent for a moment. I understand. Yuhao, you're a good kid. Are you willing to become my disciple? Yuhao was stunned at first. Then he was delighted. I'm willing. Of course. He became Elder Mu's disciple with Tang Dong. In midair, the godly Taotai bull that Elder Xian had transformed in a charge forward. The yellow light behind him was like a huge wave that crashed towards Dubusi. Dubusi, who was in the form of a dark green giant, was running in midair. He didn't retreat at all as he met Elder Mu's attack head-on. With a loud boom, the two of them collided in midair. At this moment, everyone from the Shrek Academy and the body sect who were originally floating in midair quickly descended. They landed on the ground. A terrifying pressure descended from the sky and only dissipated when it was 100 meters away from the ground. This wasn't because the two powerful individuals in midair weren't strong enough. They were deliberately controlling it. After all, no one wanted to implicate their own people. Furthermore, Dubusi didn't seem like he wanted to fight to the death with Elder Xian. Dubusi, you're crazy. Elder Xian's voice resonated in midair. Dubusi laughed and said, You're the crazy one. I don't want to die with you. Let's retreat together and come back. In midair, an ear-piercing tearing sound could be heard. The black light dissipated and turned into countless rays of black light that dissipated in all directions. Whether it was Elder Xian's yellow shooting star or Dubusi's dark green whirlpool, everything that the black light passed by disappeared momentarily as it flashed past. The black light flew very far away before it gradually disappeared. Dubusi and Elder Xian had separated at this point. They were 1,000 meters away, and their powers were formed. They were once again yellow and dark green. It's been so many years. Little Xian, you've improved a lot. Du Busi snorted. Elder Xian said coldly, You're the same. You old monster, why aren't you dead yet? Du Busi acted as if his reverse scale had been touched. Bullish asterisk T, why would I die? How dare you say I'm old? How much younger are you than me? You're not more than 20 years old. If you're not dead, why should I die? I can live for another 100 years. Elder Xian said disdainfully. If you're capable, live for 1,000 years. That's a 1,000-year tortoise. This title matches your skin color quite well. You're courting death. Du Busi was furious. You and I are both rank 98, but our soul rings aren't as compatible as mine. That's why you're still lacking if you want to defeat me. Hurry up and hand over my young sect master. Otherwise, you know what I can do. You can't stop me. At this point, an old and gentle voice sounded. If little Xian can't stop you, what about me? A gentle halo was suddenly released from the Shrek Academy. More accurately speaking, it was released from the Poseidon Pavilion. The gentle golden light seemed to spread slowly, but it was actually very fast. In the blink of an eye, it had already rushed into the sky. A magical scene appeared. Whether it was Elder Xian or Du Busi, their auras disappeared under this golden light. The suppressive force in the sky also dissipated. The gentle golden light didn't just envelop the Shrek Academy, but also Shrek City. At this moment, Shrek City looked like a golden city from the outside. A figure 10,000 meters in the sky exclaimed softly, Senior Uncle's Poseidon Light? Although it's not as strong as Senior Uncle's, it's more than enough to deal with anyone below the demigod realm. However, Senior Uncle, it's impossible for you to stop me from taking my master away. Even if you and the 5 enforcers come, you can't stop me. Du Busi's expression changed when he saw this scene. Poseidon Light? How is this possible? How can there be someone in Shrek who can use Poseidon Light? Busi, we haven't seen each other for many years. It seems like you've forgotten about me. An amiable voice sounded once again. However, it was only transmitted into Du Busi's ears. You are. Du Busi was astonished as he looked at the Poseidon Pavilion, which was releasing a brilliant golden light. Beads of sweat appeared on his dark green forehead. Elder Moose said plainly, I still remember what your brother gave me back then. Your temper is exactly the same as your brother's. Impulsiveness is the devil. If not for your brother's impulsiveness back then, he might still be alive. Du Busi was shocked when he heard this. You're not dead? How is this possible? Didn't you already? Elder Moose said plainly, If I'm dead, are you going to bully the Shrek Academy? It was a simple sentence, but it was like an invisible hammer that struck Du Busi's body. An intense golden light flashed in the air. Du Busi's dark green body suddenly shrunk by a meter. An intense dark green light also flowed out from his body. Du Busi was a little annoyed. Dragon God Doluamu-in. The battle back then wasn't as simple as it seemed. Why should my brother give in? Elder Moose said plainly, You know the whole story very well. You don't have to argue with me. You just need to know that I'm still the pavilion master of Poseidon. Yuhao has also declared that he won't leave with you. Furthermore, he's already my disciple. What did you say? Muon, you've really taken him in as your disciple? Are you really going to make him the next pavilion master? Du Busi was a little shocked. I do have such a plan. Elder Mu's voice sounded. Hey, Muin, if it was in the past, I might have turned around and left. However, this is Master Yu's order. Before he could finish speaking, a cold female voice suddenly sounded. Du Busi, didn't I tell you not to attack? Why did you attack? This voice sounded in Shrek. Everyone lifted their heads and looked up. A young lady wearing a purplish-black dress and a purple veil was hovering in the air. Her figure was perfect, and her purple hair fluttered in the wind. She had an otherworldly aura, as if a god had descended. However, the most important thing was that no one could sense any soul power undulations from her body. She was just like an ordinary person. Du Busi suddenly trembled. Xianzi and Mu and could feel an indescribable aura. They also saw fear and respect in Du Busi's eyes. Greetings, Master Yu. Dubusi and everyone from the body sect knelt down in the air. Master Yu? Elder Xian and Mu In looked at the lady in disbelief. Although she was wearing a purple veil, everyone could imagine the beauty under the veil. Yuhao suddenly trembled. Why does this person feel so familiar? Yuhao looked at the young lady in the air. Why does this person feel so familiar? Furthermore, Yuhao suddenly clutched his head with one hand. A sharp pain surged in his head. A blurry purple figure was acting cute around a blurry blue figure. The blue figure dotingly caressed the purple figure's head. That was it. Yuhao wanted to continue searching his memories. However, 7 pitch-black chains suddenly appeared in his head. They prevented him from thinking any further. After that, he suffered a backlash. Yuhao suddenly hugged his head and screamed. He collapsed to the ground. Yuhao, Tang Dong, and Xiao Xiao hurriedly supported Yuhao. Elder Mu hurriedly got up and touched Yuhao's forehead with his right hand. He heaved a sigh of relief. His spiritual sea has been stimulated. He's only unconscious. He's fine. He's fine? You're wrong. He's in danger. It's very likely that he's suffering from temporary amnesia. He might even become a retard. The young lady suddenly appeared in front of them. She snatched Yuhao from Tang Dong and Xiao Zhao's hands. She looked worriedly at the unconscious Yuhao. Who are you? Return Yuhao to me. Tang Dong wanted to rush forward. However, a formless pressure appeared from the young lady's body. It suppressed him and prevented him from moving. She glanced at Tang Dong. After that, she muttered, Not a single one of them has been removed. What are you talking about? Tang Dong didn't understand. Nothing. You're the current pavilion master of the Poseidon Pavilion, right? The young lady looked at Elder Mu. Yes, Elder Mu replied. However, he didn't let down his guard. This lady's abilities were very frightening. Elder Xian and Du Busi also rushed over. The young lady waved her hand. A boundary enveloped this small area. Elder Xian, Elder Mu, and Yin Xiaozhe were astonished. They were certain that they couldn't break this boundary. They couldn't even leave a single crack on it. I can save him. However, there's a condition. I have to take him away for a period of time. Don't worry, I won't hurt him. I'll take good care of him. The young lady said plainly. Why? Why should we hand Yuhao over to you, a lady of unknown origins? Tang Dong and Xiao Xiao were indignant. You wouldn't say that if you could remove the first 4 barriers. The young lady looked at Tang Dong and said something strange. What first 4 barriers? What are you talking about? Tang Dong didn't understand. The young lady ignored him. If we don't deal with him in time, he'll really become a retard. He won't be able to recover for the rest of his life. Even if Shrek's Poseidon, Tang San, descends, he won't be able to save him. The young lady said seriously. Poseidon, Ancestor Tang San. You are. Elder Mu was shocked. Elder Xian and Yin Xiaozhe looked at her in shock. Xiao Xiao was also shocked. Du Busi was a little calm. Elder Mu and the rest were in disbelief. From a young lady's tone, she didn't seem to care about Tang San. This also proved that the young lady was from the same generation as Tang San. She might even be stronger than Tang San. Tang Dong was stunned. His eyes were filled with despair. Even my father can't save Yuhao, he thought to himself. At the same time, he was very shocked. He looked at the young lady. She seems to know my father. I've said that I can save him. Tang San can't do anything, but that doesn't mean that I can't. It depends on whether you're willing to believe me. I can swear to the heavens that I won't hurt him. I swear on my position as a god. The young lady's voice was very sincere. God? You're a god from the god realm? Everyone present was shocked. Gods really existed? Please save Yuhao. Tang Dong suddenly wanted to kowtow to her. However, an invisible force stopped him. I can't take your kowtow. Although I'm not afraid of Tang San, even if he comes, someone once taught me, once you have power, you can't be arrogant, because arrogance will destroy you in the future. She stole a glance at Yuhao. That's why I won't look for trouble just because I'm powerful. It all depended on whether Tang San knew how to find trouble for himself. That person also taught me, when trouble comes knocking on your door, you don't have to be afraid of it. If he comes, I'll beat him back to his hometown. He's just a slightly old-fashioned and smart god in the god realm. The young lady seemed to be belittling Tang San. She said that he was arrogant. She said that he liked to look for trouble. God realm. Tang San looked at the scene in the crystal ball. Wasn't that what happened to Shrek? When he heard the young lady criticize him, he was sweating. Xiao Yu is still so sharp-tongued. However, I didn't know that I had so many flaws. It seems like I've changed. If it was Light Rain, she would scold me to death. I won't take him away for more than a year. After a year, I'll send him back personally. Do Boosie go back? Eh? The young lady glanced in a direction and pulled something out. Ah, an elder was pulled out. Everyone was stunned as they looked at him. They didn't sense his presence earlier. Jing Hongshun, Elder Mu, Du Busi, and Xuanzi were slightly shocked. I'll leave this old man to you. The young lady ignored Jing Hongshun. She picked up Hui Yuhao and tore a black crack in front of her. It was pitch black inside. She carried Hui Yuhao and disappeared into the black world. Mu and Xuanzi. Elder Yu is very trustworthy. Don't worry. Body sect retreat. Du Busi shouted. After that, he turned into a dark green projection and left Shrek Academy. The 20 body sect members followed Du Busi and left. After a long while, Elder Mu and the rest finally reacted. They looked at Jing Hongchun, the body sect's quiet room. This quiet room was very spacious, and there were many stone pillars supporting it. In the middle, Hui Yuhao was lying flat in midair. His body was bound by 7 black chains. Beside him, the lady called Elder Yu stopped in midair. She slowly took off her veil, revealing her peerless face that could topple the world. She looked like she was 16 years old. However, her eyes were filled with sorrow. Master, she opened her mouth slowly. She floated to Hui Yuhao's side and hugged him slowly. Xiaoya, I really miss you. Master, she left behind tears. She had waited for 10,000 years. She was Lingyu. She was Dolua Tang Yu's first disciple, the demonic god Lingyu. In fact, Hui Yuhao was fine. Just like the dragon god Dolua said, Hui Yuhao wasn't in any danger. However, Lingyu had no choice but to make up a lie to take him away. After a long while, Lingyu's gaze suddenly became sharp. This damned seal! She roared furiously. Whoosh! She pulled out her blood-red blade and slashed at the 7 black chains that bound Hui Yuhao. Boom! A terrifying aura suddenly shot out. She was sent flying by that terrifying aura and crashed into the stone pillars behind her. Boom! 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 She crashed into the wall with a few loud bangs. Poof! Lingyu spat out a mouthful of blood on the ground. She stabbed her blade into the ground and knelt on one knee so that she wouldn't fall. Cough, cough. The seal is actually so cough. It's so powerful. The backlash from a seal was very strong. Even Lingyu was severely injured. However, she saw a crack appear on Hui Yuhao's 4th seal in the next moment. After that, the crack started to spread. Crack! It broke. Boom! Chaotic memories flowed into Hui Yuhao's mind. A terrifying aura engulfed the entire quiet room. Those stone pillars that were not destroyed began to slowly collapse. One of them was about to crush Lingyu, who was kneeling on the ground. Lingyu wanted to dodge, but her injuries suddenly worsened. She groaned and missed the opportunity to dodge. Seeing that it was about to crush Lingyu, Lingyu subconsciously closed her eyes. Whoosh! Lingyu heard a slashing sound and slowly opened her eyes. An icy blue figure stood in front of her. It was a youth. He held a large jade-green sword in his hand. The stone pillar had already been split into 2 and smashed to the ground. His voice was tender yet mature. 10,000 years have passed. How can you be defeated by a stone pillar? If you go out like this, don't tell others that you're my disciple. Little you. The huge dark green sword turned into a green light and entered the space between his eyebrows. Lingyu's pupils shrank. Then, tears flowed out of her eyes. However, she looked very happy. She was so happy that she cried. Mas, Master. Lingyu immediately hugged the boy in front of her. That's right. Wasn't he Hui Yuhao? The 4th seal had already been broken. The memories of Tang San's era and his own era had all been gathered. Now, only the memories of the God realm, Han Tian's memories, and the first generation's memories had not been unsealed. Hui Yuhao looked at Ling Yu, who was crying nonstop in his arms. He couldn't help but feel his heart soften. He raised his right hand and patted her head. He smiled and said, all right. You're crying like a little kitten. Why are you crying so sadly? It's not like I'm dead. Why are you crying so sadly? No, Master. Little Yu just missed Master too much. I'm just happy. Ling Yu smiled through her tears. Hui Yuhao was really shocked. The speed at which she changed her expression was really, you stinky girl. You actually used a blade to break the seal. That's a seal that even God Emperors have to be careful against. Aren't you just looking for trouble? Hui Yuhao lightly hammered the top of Ling Yu's head. Master, didn't you say that there are some things that are best solved in a simple and violent way? Ling Yu touched the place where Hui Yuhao had hammered and stuck out her tongue. You're already over 10,000 years old, and you're still so impudent. You'll become a laughingstock if you go out. Hui Yuhao slapped his forehead. Master, you've lived longer than all the universes combined. How can you say that, Ling Yu whispered. What did you say? Hui Yuhao glared at her. What? Did I say anything? Ling Yu played dumb. Yuhao didn't bicker with her. Little Yu, accompany me to the great Stardow Forest. Oh, Master, are you going to see Master's wife? Yes, I'm going to open the seal on my fourth soul ring while I'm there. I'll also let my spirit eyes evolve into Destiny Spirit Eyes. After that, Hui Yuhao took out a jade green left arm bone. I'll raise its grade. Chapter 48. Where did this little bastard come from? Who do you think you are? Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue? The tall student was furious. Cook was also furious. Zhu Zi was at a loss. She said anxiously, What's going on? We're all studying together. What are you guys doing? The handsome young man revealed a look of surprise, but he didn't have much of a reaction. Hui Yuhao's 5 soul rings suddenly appeared. 1 white and 4 black. It was a terrifying combination of soul rings. When his 4th soul ring lit up, the 4 of them suddenly felt very weak. They were dizzy and swaying as they stood. Hui Yuhao slowly walked in front of them. He lifted the tall student and the handsome youth with both hands and threw them out of the door. Whoosh! The 2 of them crashed into the wall outside the door. Hui Yuhao might look like a weak little girl, but he was as strong as a Tyrannosaurus. He had once sparred with a 90,000-year-old Titan ape in the Great Stardow Forest. In the end, Hui Yuhao came out on top. If Hui Yuhao really wanted to kill them, he only needed to use a little strength. Hui Yuhao glanced at Coco. Coco was already trembling nonstop. She was afraid. All right, Yuhao, stop. Zhu Zi quickly stood in front of Coco and looked at Hui Yuhao. There was a pleading tone in her voice. She didn't care that Yuhao had thrown the 2 of them out. However, Coco was her best friend. How could she not care? She could only hope that Hui Yuhao wouldn't do it again. To everyone's surprise, Hui Yuhao really stopped. The icy blue dragon claw had already disappeared, along with the 5 soul rings. I'll give Senior some face. If there's anyone who doesn't know their place next time, don't blame me for being merciless. Hui Yuhao said coldly. He casually picked up a metal ball and squeezed it lightly. Instantly, the metal ball was crushed into powder. Hiss! The 2 women and the 2 fellows outside all gasped in shock. That was an alloy. Even a Contra expert would have to exert a lot of strength to break it. But Hui Yuhao had actually broken it with just a light pinch. Just how strong was he? Right now, Hui Yuhao had his hands clasped behind his back. He looked like an emperor who was looking down on the world. When the 4 of them faced Hui Yuhao, they actually felt a sense of powerlessness. That's right. Hui Yuhao had already used Sovereign's Descent before he made his move. It would be strange if they didn't feel powerless. Hui Yuhao only looked 14 years old. How could he be so strong? What are you doing? At this moment, a surprised voice was heard. A figure quickly appeared in the laboratory. It was Xian Ziwen. He looked at the 2 people outside, who were in a sorry state. He also looked at Cuckoo, who was still trembling. Then, he looked at the alloy fragments on the ground. He looked at Hui Yuhao in shock. This was all done by this 14-year-old kid. After some explanation, Xian Ziwen called the handsome youth, who seemed to be called Zimu, to bring the big guy to the infirmary. The big guy seemed to be called Wang Xiaojia. He was a noble of the Sun Moon Imperial family, but he wasn't a direct noble. However, this had nothing to do with him. He had provoked Hui Yuhao. It would be considered light if Hui Yuhao didn't beat the shit out of him with a single punch. A day later, Wang Xiaojia's family found out that he was severely injured. They wanted Xian Ziwen to hand over Hui Yuhao. Xian Ziwen secretly arranged for Hui Yuhao, Zhu Zi, and Cuckoo to go out and train together. Those people couldn't do anything about it. They could only wait for them to return. On the way, when Juku saw Hui Yuhao's superb culinary skills, his experience in surviving in the wilderness, and his experience in setting up tents, she was both in awe and in awe of him. He was simply a must-have man for a family trip. He was the perfect man in Zhu Zi's heart, a man with top-notch culinary skills. At night, when Hui Yuhao walked out of his tent to get some fresh air, he saw Zhu Zi sitting alone on a huge rock at the mouth of the river. She looked up at the bright, starry sky. "Daddy, Mommy, Zhu Zi misses the both of you." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Daddy, Mommy, Zhu Zi seems to have found someone she really likes. Ha ha ha. He's very handsome and very pretty. More importantly, his culinary skills are superb. If he's around, Zhu Zi won't starve to death." Zhu Zi giggled to herself. "If only there were no wars in this world. Daddy, Mommy, you said that if a war happens, there must be a hero who can end it. But is that really possible? Is there really a hero who can stop all wars in this world? If there is, why didn't he save the both of you back then?" Boo-hoo. Zhu Zi hugged her knees and cried. Hui Yuhao, who was hiding behind a tree, listened quietly. Hui Yuhao clenched his fist tightly. Zhu Zi, do you really hate war?" After a long time, Zhu Zi had already fallen asleep on the huge rock. She was sleeping like a log. Hui Yuhao slowly walked out of the forest and looked at her sleeping face. He shook his head. He picked her up and carried her in her tent. Hui Yuhao slowly walked out of the tent. He looked up at the starry sky. A hero who can end wars? If only this hero really existed. He shook his head and entered his own tent. When Zhu Zi woke up the next day, she realized that she was lying in her tent. She was very confused. Didn't she sleep outside last night? She looked at Cuckoo, who was still sleeping. She looked at her slobbering posture and saw that her saliva was all over the blanket. All right, it wasn't her. In that case, Zhu Zi subconsciously looked outside. She saw Hui Yuhao making breakfast outside. Is it him? Did he hear something last night? During breakfast, Zhu Zi blushed and said to Hui Yuhao, "Did you hear anything last night?" Hui Yuhao was a little confused. "What do you mean?" "I saw you sleeping outside last night when I came out to take a breather. I was afraid that you would catch a cold, so I brought you into the tent. What else could I have heard?" Zhu Zi looked into Hui Yuhao's eyes, which were filled with sincerity. After a long time, she stuttered, Thank you. Let's eat." Hui Yuhao looked at her and smiled. "It's all right. Let's eat." Zhu Zi savored Hui Yuhao's soup carefully. Her heart felt warm. It felt good to be at home. Hui Yuhao looked at Zhu Zi and sighed in his heart. After that, he was silent for a long time. A hero who can end wars? The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's teaching director, Lin Jiai, was anxious when he heard that. Bang! He slammed the table and said, "Nonsense. The royal stewards came to our academy to arrest someone, but you didn't go through the academy. You're messing around." The royal stewards were unaffected by Lin Jiai's anger. They were all direct descendants of the royal family. He snorted and said, "If you have the ability, you can talk to our captain. I've already told him." After he finished speaking, he turned around and walked away. Lin Jiai didn't stop him. Since he had already been captured, what was the use of stopping a messenger? He stood behind his desk and remained silent for a moment. Then he walked out of his office. Jing Hongchun had told him about Hui Yuhao's important mission. His mission was to prevent Hui Yuhao from learning anything useful in the academy, but he couldn't let Hui Yuhao be wronged or hurt at the same time. This mission was a little difficult. When he heard that Hui Yuhao was sent out to train, he was a little annoyed. Xian Ziwen didn't go through him. However, He couldn't make the decision for Xianzuan. Fortunately, Yuhao returned safely. But who would have thought that he would be arrested by the royal stewards after just one day? This Wang Xiaojie was simply messing around. While Lin Jiai was a Class 8 soul engineer, he couldn't afford to offend the royal stewards. After all, the royal stewards were too complicated. That was why he rushed to the illustrious Virtue Hall as quickly as possible. He didn't dare to delay this matter. He had to report it to Jing Hongchen as soon as possible. He knew that Jing Hongchen's beloved grandson and granddaughter were among the participants. What? Yuhao has been arrested? And it's the royal stewards? Juzi exclaimed. Kuku's expression was frighteningly solemn. It must be Wang Xiaojie. I heard it from a junior from the royal stewards. It must be true. Sister Juzi, what should we do? Juzi's eyes flashed coldly. The royal stewards? It must be Su Machin. Su Machin. What is Su Machin? I'm going out for a while. As she spoke, she rushed out like a gust of wind. Once she left the dormitory, she immediately used her flying-type soul tool and soared into the sky. She flew towards the center of Radiant City. I didn't want to look for you, but I'll have to trouble you again to save Yuhao. Su Tianran, illustrious Virtue Hall. Lin Jiai knelt down on one knee in fear. Hall Master, Yuhao has been arrested by the royal stewards. Jing Hongchen's eyes widened. Royal stewards? What's going on? Lin Jiai was clear about the conflict between Yuhao and Wang Xiaojie. Wang Xiaojie bullied him and was knocked out for more than 10 days by Yuhao's spiritual-type soul skill. Xianzuan had even sought him out to discuss this matter. Immediately, he recounted everything that had happened from the beginning to the end. Jing Hongchen's expression turned ugly. Are these bastards from the royal stewards trying to rebel? How dare they kidnap someone from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy? Who gave him the guts? I'll teach them a lesson on behalf of His Majesty. Let's go. As he spoke, he walked outside the royal steward's torture chamber. When Jing Hongchen arrived, he was stunned. There were many casualties here. Yes, some of the soldiers were bound by terrifying black spiked chains, and their bodies were stained with fresh blood. Some of them had half their bodies badly mutilated, and one could see their white skeletons. Some of the headless soldiers' brains were strewn all over the ground. Some of them had been frozen into ice sculptures. Corpses covered the road. Jing Hongchen was stunned. He hurriedly entered the torture chamber. He saw Yuhao sitting on a chair, holding a wine glass in his right hand as he slowly tasted the red wine inside. His left hand was leaning against the left armrest of the chair, supporting his cheek. Right now, his right foot was stepping on a middle-aged man who was trembling nonstop. That was Su Machin. There were also 4 people who were trembling as they massaged his back, shoulders, legs, and shoes. There were also some who remained silent, and some who were kneeling on the ground. All of them had fear in their eyes. There were also the dragon-binding pillars and some torture soul tools that had been torn to pieces. Have you all not eaten? Why are you so weak? Yuhao glanced at the 4 people who were massaging his back and legs. The 4 of them shuddered at the same time. At the same time, they knelt in front of Yuhao and kowtowed as they admitted their mistakes. Sir, I know my mistake. Please forgive me. Yuhao acted as if he didn't see them. He kicked Su Machin aside and saw Jing Hongchen at the door. Oh my, look who this is. Isn't this Hall Master Jing? Come. Sit. All of you move faster. Quickly, give Hall Master Jing a seat. Quickly, Yuhao shouted at the people around him. Those people hurriedly carried a chair in front of Jing Hongchen. Hall Master Jing, please take a seat. Jing Hongchen stood there in a daze. Who can tell me what's going on? Where's the torture? Yuhao stood up and stretched. TSK. It's quite comfortable here. It's much better than the treatment in the Soul Engineering Academy. It's like an emperor enjoying himself. Don't you think so? Hall Master Jing. Jing Hongchen's mouth kept twitching, and he was completely speechless. Su Tianran and Juzi also arrived after a while. When they saw the scene, they were also astonished and in disbelief. She looked at the cute and obedient Yuhao as he sat there. Was he the one who did all of this? After that, the public order team also admitted their mistakes. They admitted that they wanted to use their soul tools to teach Yuhao a lesson. In the end, Yuhao broke free from his soul-sealing handcuffs and taught them a lesson. Su Tianran wanted to blame Yuhao for attacking the public order team. However, the public order team hurriedly exonerated Yuhao. They told Su Tianran to put the blame on the public order team. Su Tianran, Jing Hongchun, and Zhu Zi were stunned as they looked at them. In the end, Yuhao was acquitted. You guys are really brothers. You guys actually want to take the blame for me. I'm so touched. Yuhao was very touched as he spoke to them. They trembled. They weren't taking the blame for Yuhao. They were afraid that Yuhao would cause a ruckus in Radiant City and tear it down. They were sure that even though Yuhao couldn't tear down Radiant City with his current abilities, he couldn't do anything if he wanted to, and so this matter was left unsettled. Chapter 49. The next day, Zhu Zi left. Before she left, she bade farewell to Yuhao. She believed that she had caused all this trouble for Yuhao, so she felt that she had let him down. Yuhao didn't stop her from leaving. He only told her to take care of herself, and that was all. It was similar to the original article, except that Yuhao was awake. A day later, Yuhao entered the illustrious Virtue Hall to study. In his own words, he was stealing skills. He studied for half a year, and it was a very boring half a year. Until today, Yuhao nodded in satisfaction as he looked at the Class 7 Soul Tool Grenade that he had created. Yuhao was the one who had invented the Soul Grenade. Even the Sun Moon Empire didn't have it. When Yuhao created the Class 6 Soul Tool Grenade in front of Xianzuan a few months ago, Xianzuan's expression was as if he had discovered a new continent. After carefully studying Yuhao's Soul Tool Grenade, he realized that he couldn't find any problems with it. Furthermore, this Soul Tool Grenade was divided into two categories: Soul Masters and Non-Soul Masters. Soul Masters only needed to inject some soul power into it before it could be thrown out to explode. The consumption of soul power was negligible. On the other hand, Non-Soul Masters seemed to have a very strange device inside. It could absorb soul power from the outside and store it. Ordinary people could just throw it out. This also proved that ordinary people could use the Soul Tool Grenade. Xianzuan was very interested in this device. Such a device was an epic-making device for the Sun Moon Empire. After obtaining this device, the Sun Moon Empire would be able to break through the bottleneck that had plagued them for many years. However, Yuhao didn't show Xianzuan the device. He said that it was his own patent and that he wouldn't show it to anyone else. Xianzuan tried to open the Non-Soul Master Grenade to see what was inside. However, it self-destructed the moment he opened it. There was actually a self-destruct device. He didn't report this to his superiors. He knew that Yuhao could be captured and tortured to force a confession out of him if he reported this. That was why he didn't report it to Jing Hongchun and the others. However, his actions moved Yuhao. Yuhao directly told him that the device was called the Energy Circulation Device. To put it simply, it would automatically absorb the surrounding soul power and any other types of energy and store them. When it reached saturation, it would automatically release the excess energy, and this cycle would continue. This was similar to the soul cores of Tidal Dala. Xianzuan lamented back then. It was a pity that such a freakish soul tool wasn't born in the Sun Moon Empire. However, he had a plan in his heart. 2 years later, it was time to leave this place. Back in the present, Yuhao fiddled with the Class 7 hand grenade in his hand, the corners of his mouth curling up slightly. At this moment, he suddenly felt a sense of danger. However, he did not panic. Instead, the smile on his face grew wider and wider. Old bastard, you're finally attacking the illustrious Virtue Hall. Then, Snow Empress, wait for me. I'm coming to save you. Boom, 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 boom. 4 consecutive booms rang out in the illustrious Virtue Hall's laboratory. The terrifying explosive force instantly set off a destructive shockwave inside. The terrifying explosion even caused the ground to shake violently. More than a third of the people in the underground soul tool manufacturing base were affected. There were many casualties. Yuhao's body started to turn illusory and eventually disappeared. Go ahead and cause as much trouble as you want, old bastard. I owe you a favor. Following the end of the explosion, a number of figures suddenly emerged from the ground. There were more than 100 of them. They were all dressed in black, and their movements were very agile. After they appeared, they immediately started to kill in all directions. If one were to look down from the sky, they would realize that there was a huge hole more than 10 meters in diameter at each of the 4 locations where the explosion had occurred. These black-clothed men had emerged from these holes. Not only were they prepared, but they were also very strong. Once they attacked, they caused a bloodbath. Among the 100 or so black-clothed men, almost none of them were weaker than soul sages. Almost as soon as they appeared, they unleashed their martial soul, true bodies, and wreaked havoc. Furthermore, their martial souls were closely related to their bodies. Body sect. They were all from the body sect. It didn't take long before another 100 soul engineers were lying in a pool of blood. Even though the soul engineers tried to resist, they were still able to do so. However, the strength of the body sect's experts far exceeded theirs. More than a dozen of them were titled de law. How could their soul tools possibly resist such an attack? At this moment, a figure appeared out of thin air and appeared in mid-air in a flash. Under the pursuit of countless purple lights, his entire body seemed to have become illusory. He flickered, and not a single ray of purple light could land on his body. Following this, the entire dome turned green. All the soul tools on the dome started to melt under this terrifying green light. Go! That figure paused in midair and waved his hands. Suddenly, the green liquid that had melted started to scatter in all directions. It went straight for the surrounding soul engineers. Debussy, don't you dare! A loud roar could be heard. A layer of crimson light expanded horizontally and blocked off the green liquid. Deep in the underground base, dozens of figures flew over. Wasn't the hallmaster of the illustrious Virtue Hall, Jing Hongshun? When Jing Hongshun saw the mess in the underground base, he was furious. Ever since the illustrious Virtue Hall was built, it had never been so damaged. There were corpses of soul engineers from the illustrious Virtue Hall everywhere. If they were fighting on the battlefield, Jing Hongshun was confident that he could command the illustrious Virtue Hall's experts to defeat the body sect. However, the body sect attack was too sudden. Furthermore, the illustrious Virtue Hall was 100 meters underground. Outsiders didn't know its exact location. Even if they did, they wouldn't have the ability to enter. Who would have thought that the body sect would choose the stupidest and most effective method? They actually dug a tunnel from somewhere and attacked from below, which was the weakest part of the base. They broke through the base's defenses. Debussy didn't seem to hear Jing Hongshun's voice. He shouted, "Kill!" This powerful individual who had just destroyed a large number of soul tools was the body sect's Debussy. However, since he was dressed in black, he wouldn't reveal his identity. Even if his opponent knew, he wouldn't admit it. Jing Hongshun roared furiously, "Don't leave a single one alive." Just as both parties were attacking each other, the underground tunnel of the illustrious Virtue Hall collapsed. Inside the underground base of the illustrious Virtue Hall, Yuhao suddenly appeared here. He looked at the huge figure in front of him. It was a huge, human-shaped metal body. It was 15 meters tall, and its huge body was made entirely of metal. Although it looked simple, its overall structure was complete. Its chest was open, and there seemed to be a seat inside. There were platforms at different heights around the metal man's body. Evidently, they were made for processing it. Yuhao wasn't far from the lowest metal platform. Right now, this platform was the only thing that was connected to the metal man's body. It was a piece of metal that was bigger than a palm. It was like a heart-protecting mirror. It was surrounded by silver-white decorations. It looked like a formation array was carved on it. However, There was a huge gemstone in the shape of a convex lens in the center. This gemstone was light blue, and there were 6 streaks of starlight flashing on it. The strange brilliance gave people a dazzling feeling. This was a starlight sapphire. It was a magical gemstone that contained immense energy. This gemstone contained mysterious spatial power. It was the best medium for creating space-type soul tools. If a piece the size of a fingernail was added to a storage-type soul tool, the storage-type soul tool could store more than 1 cubic meter of items. Starlight sapphire was very precious, mainly because it was produced in small quantities. However, its value was limited because it wasn't very big. However, Yuhao didn't look at it. He was staring at the human-shaped soul tool. Human-shaped soul tool. This name isn't domineering at all. Why don't I call you Mecha? Ha, that's a nice name. All right, I'll call you Test Item 0. Yuhao walked in front of the starlight sapphire and injected his soul power into it. The starlight sapphire suddenly exploded with brilliant blue light. There seemed to be a ball of blue light above the metal man's head. It shone brightly with the starlight sapphire's radiance. A streak of blue light shot out from the starlight sapphire's surface. The blue light radiated in midair and spread in all directions. The metal man's head also released a corresponding streak of light. The 2 streaks of blue light collided in midair. The brilliant blue light instantly lit up the entire laboratory. This explosion of blue light didn't last for long. When the light faded, Test Item 0 had already disappeared. Yuhao's smile became wider and wider. He threw the starlight sapphire into the spectral plane. In this way, those people wouldn't be able to find it. However, at this moment, a black shadow flashed towards him at an alarming speed. "Who's there?" the other party growled. A tyrannical purple light instantly bloomed. The terrifying pressure almost suffocated Yuhao. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 4 black soul rings. 8 soul rings of the best combination appeared on the other party's body. It was a Contra-level expert. He had a pair of exceptionally thick arms. At this moment, both of his arms had transformed into a pair of large pincers. Yuhao walked over and glanced at him indifferently. When the Contra expert saw Yuhao's appearance, he was instantly shocked. He immediately knelt down on one knee and said respectfully, "Greetings, young master Hua." Yuhao grunted. "Get up." "Thank you, young master." The man stood up and asked respectfully, "Young master, why are you here?" "I'm Shrek's exchange student. I'm here to learn and secretly learn some skills." "What's your purpose for coming here?" "If you want to take away that embryo, I advise you not to have any ideas about her. If she gets angry, she'll even dare to destroy the entire Dolua continent." "Hand her over to me," Yuhao said indifferently. The Contra was hesitant at first. However, in an instant, a pure white stream of air appeared from his body. A white tray appeared together with a wooden support. On the tray, there were at least 100 gemstones of various colors embedded on it. On this small wooden support, the pure white stream of air fluctuated slightly. It seemed to be very excited. "Daddy, Daddy, you're finally here." A light young girl's voice sounded. "Daddy?" The Contra had been standing there for a long time. Yuhao glared at him. In an instant, he lost consciousness. His vision turned black, and he didn't know anything. Yuhao looked at the white stream of air in front of him again and said helplessly, "How many times have I told you? Don't call me Daddy. I'm not that old." The white stream of air instantly turned into an illusory image of a very cute 3-year-old girl. She had snow-white skin and chubby little face. She was wearing a snow-white little dress and snow-white long hair. She looked very lovable. She rushed into Yuhao's arms and said coquettishly, "Hee hee, I'll call you that. Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. I miss your daddy so much." Yuhao's face was full of awkwardness as he patted her head helplessly. All right. No matter what. Welcome back, Snow Empress." "No, I should call you Xiao Shui now." Following this, Yuhao's eyes turned a little cold. "You can vent your anger." The Snow Empress' face turned cold when she heard this. She didn't act coquettishly like before. She left Yuhao's arms and floated in front of Yuhao. She squeezed her hands together and made cracking sounds. She said with a childish yet mature tone, "Of course. I have to vent my anger. I've been locked up for 2 years. If not for the fact that I was waiting for my daddy, I would have destroyed Radiant City." The Soul Tool Experimentation Arena was the largest building in the entire Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. It could hold 10,000 people at once. It had a similar architectural style to the Shrek Academy's Beast Dueling Arena. There was a huge plaza inside. There were rows and rows of seats that extended upwards. It was usually used for the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's students to test, compete, and experiment with large soul tools. Between the spectator seats and the central plaza, there was a linked defense system made up of many defensive soul tools. This defense system showed how advanced the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy was in terms of soul tools. As long as there was a sufficiently powerful soul master, they would be able to control the entire defensive system. Of course, the prerequisite was that the soul master had enough soul power. Although it was early in the morning, the entire soul tool experimentation arena was already full. There were close to 12,000 teachers and students in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, including those from the illustrious Virtue Hall. It wasn't just the students who wanted to see the differences between soul masters and soul engineers. Even the teachers were curious. The academy had stopped classes for 3 days for this sparring competition. Jing Hongchun didn't attend. He still had many important things to deal with. Lin Jiai was in charge of hosting the competition. From Jing Hongchun's perspective, the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy would benefit from this competition, regardless of how long Yuhao could last. It would strengthen the academy's cohesion and allow them to understand the differences between soul masters and soul engineers. All of this would give the students an exciting lesson. As there weren't enough seats, some students who came late had to sit in the aisles or stand at the back. Fortunately, the Soul Tool Experimentation Arena was big enough to accommodate all of them. As the referee, Lin Jiai also spent a lot of time thinking. In the end, he invited Xianziwen. Firstly, it was because of the teacher-student relationship between Xianziwen and Yuhao. Secondly, it was because of Xianziwen's abilities. Lin Jiai originally thought that Xianziwen would refuse, but he didn't expect that after hearing his proposal, the #1 researcher, who had always had nothing but research in his eyes, actually agreed very quickly. The reason was simple. He wanted to see how strong his disciple was as a soul master. When Yuhao first arrived, he had personally taught a lesson to a few other students who were Class 5 soul engineers. Xianziwen also knew about the bets that the students had made. If Yuhao couldn't last 10 rounds, the odds were 1 to 3. If he couldn't last 20 rounds, the odds were 1 to 2. If he couldn't last 50 rounds, the odds were 1 to 3. Since they dared to make such bets, it was clear that they were confident that Yuhao could win 50 rounds in a row. He didn't know why the Shrek Academy's students were so confident. After all, Yuhao only had 4 rings. Even if he rested between rounds, it would take up a lot of his time. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy wasn't a small academy. Even if the illustrious Virtue Hall students didn't participate, 3 days of intense battles would still wear Yuhao down. Once Yuhao lost a round, he might not even have the ability to continue. "All right, everyone quiet down." Lin Jiai's voice was heard through the sound-amplifying soul tool. The excited students who were discussing animatedly quietened down and turned their gazes to the main stage in the north. Lin Jiai said, "Our goal is to make friends through martial arts and enhance our learning. The Academy has decided to conduct this exchange. The Shrek Academy will send out one of their exchange students, Yuhao, who participated in the last Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament, to spar with everyone. Whether or not you participate, I hope that all of you will be able to observe and feel the difference between soul masters and soul engineers. Enhance your understanding." The illustrious Virtue Hall's researcher, teacher, Xianziwen, will be the referee for this exchange. I will be the host. Next, let's welcome the Shrek Academy's Yuhao. The entrance to the Soul Tool Experimentation Arena opened quietly. A group of students wearing the dark green Shrek Academy's uniform walked into the Soul Tool experimentation arena under teacher Fan Yu's lead. There was only one person in this group who was wearing a black warrior outfit. At the same time, he attracted everyone's attention because of his beautiful and handsome appearance, as well as his long blue hair. Discussion started once again in the spectator stands. This was because all 10 of Shrek Academy's exchange students had appeared here. Most of the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy students had never seen Yuhao before. Immediately, they started to guess who was the one who dared to challenge the entire Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy students. Everyone's gazes were fixed on the person in the black warrior outfit. Out of everyone present, he was the only one with an extraordinary aura. He might even be Yuhao. In fact, they were right. He was indeed Yuhao. Yuhao crossed his arms in front of his chest. There were 4 people on his left and 4 on his right. Kaitu was standing behind him. After that, 3 banners appeared in front of the 10,000 students from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. The 4 students from Shrek Academy's Soul Tool department on the left had a long banner with a line of words on it. Shrek God, down, down, 1, same, rank, none, enemy. The banner on the right read, Tangmin 1000, Qiu, 1, Zai, 1, Tong, Jiang, Lake. Kaitu stood behind Yuhao and raised a banner high in the air. There were 4 especially large words on it. Fight me if you're not convinced. The 9 students from Shrek Academy quickly circled around Yuhao so that the student from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy could see them clearly. Suddenly, the entire spectator stand became a sea of noise. There were even some people who were about to use their soul tools to fire into the arena. Curses and scoldings rose and fell. Silence. Lin Jiai roared with all his might. All teachers, restrain your students. The competition is about to begin. All unrelated personnel, leave the arena immediately. He was very depressed. He never thought that the exchange students from the Shrek Academy would do something like this. Weren't they just trying to stir up trouble? There were only 10 of them, and Yuhao was the only one participating. What were they trying to stir up trouble for? Weren't they just looking for trouble? Yuhao didn't seem to care at all. He raised his right hand and gave a thumbs up before he slowly moved it down. You're not convinced? Then let's fight. Yuhao's voice echoed throughout the entire arena. Arrogant. He was simply too arrogant. Fortunately, the teachers from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy had good control. Under the teachers' pressure, the younger students, who were easily hot-headed, were quickly suppressed. Along with the entrance of the first student from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, the situation stabilized. Kill him. Let that country, Bumpkin Shrek, go home. Long live the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. Long live the Sun Moon Empire. Humiliation can only be washed away with blood. I'll be the girlfriend of whoever beats him. The entire spectator stand was in an uproar. However, there were some who remained quiet. For example, Cuckoo and Zimu. Xin Ziwen had 5 students. Juzi had left the academy to join the army, while Wang Xiaojie had been expelled. Of the 5 students, only 3 were left. The first round of the friendly competition has begun. The entire arena is silent. Both parties will be given a quiet atmosphere. Whoever makes any more noise will be punished according to the academy's rules. Lin Jiai's stern voice echoed throughout the arena. Only then did he manage to suppress the chaotic situation. Yuhao's opponent was a youth who seemed to be around 18 or 19 years old. This could be seen from the emblem on his chest. He was a Class 5 soul engineer. However, he seemed a little nervous. Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. Class 5 soul engineer, Xia Xinshan. The nervous youth looked at Yuhao as he announced his name. At this moment, the entire arena had quietened down. Everyone was focused on the Soul Tool experimentation arena. Shrek, Tang Men, Yuhao. Yuhao squinted his eyes and smiled. Both parties, please take your positions in the waiting area. Xia Xinshan turned around and left. He felt as if the blood in his body was about to boil. He couldn't wait any longer. At this moment, Xia Xuanqin's nervous emotions had calmed down a little. He gradually became excited. If he could defeat this fellow from Shrek Academy in the first round, would the prettiest girl in the class still treat him nicely? He might even be able to enter the illustrious Virtue Hall. That would be a great opportunity. However, he didn't see the disdain in Yuhao's eyes. Begin, Xian Ziwen shouted. He looked at Xia Xianshan with disappointment in his eyes. As Xia Xuanqin's back was facing Yuhao, he panicked when he heard the announcement. He immediately turned around to look at Yuhao. However, he didn't expect to see a cold face when he turned around. Then he saw a snow-white hand. Wasn't that Yuhao? He grabbed Xia Xuanqin's head and pressed it against the ground. Boom! The ground caved in. After that, Yuhao raised his other hand and punched Xia Xuanqin's face. A few of Xia Xuanqin's teeth were knocked out. Blood flowed out of his mouth. If this was a battlefield, you would have been a corpse. Yuhao stood up and looked at him coldly. Of course, Yuhao held back a little. Otherwise, he would have been reduced to a bloody pulp. I admit defeat, Xia Xianshan said in fear. Yuhao put his index finger in front of his mouth and made a shushing gesture. Then he shouted, "Next!" The teachers and students from the Sun Moon Imperial College seemed to have finally reacted. They were in an uproar again. From the beginning to the end of the match, it was just too fast. It had only been about 10 seconds. Yuhao didn't seem to have done anything. He didn't even use his martial soul. However, he had won without using his martial soul. He had won so cleanly. Silence. A thunderous voice rang out above the soul tool experimentation arena. In midair, Jing Hongchun was looking at Yuhao. He didn't use any flying-type soul tools. He was using his own cultivation to float in midair. Jing Hongchun placed his hands behind his back and scanned the entire arena. He said coldly, "Is this all you've got? What else do you know besides scolding? It's better to speak with your abilities than with your Astra's souls. If you're capable, beat him. If you're not, shut your mouths." The purpose of this exchange is to let you see where the gap between you and the others is. Don't think that you're invincible just because you've learned how to create advanced soul tools. Let me tell you, this student from Shrek Academy in front of you is only 15 years old this year. Failure isn't scary. What's scary is not admitting defeat. You don't know why you've lost. If you only know how to wallow in self-pity, when will the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy defeat the Shrek Academy in the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament? Jing Hongchun's prestige in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy was unparalleled. His appearance immediately silenced the entire arena. Jing Hongchun looked at Yuhao and said, "Let's continue the sparring match." As he spoke, his figure flashed, and he flew towards the main stage. Under Xian Ziwen's instructions, the second contestant entered the arena. Compared to the previous contestant, the second contestant was much calmer. After entering the arena, he stopped in his waiting area. He stared at Yuhao with bright eyes. He gave off the feeling that he was a volcano that could erupt at any time. Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, 6th grade student, 1 Yijuan. Please enlighten me. The youth from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, who seemed to be over 20 years old, shouted. Yuhao crossed his arms in front of his chest and said, "Shrek, Yuhao." He didn't say anything. This meant that Yuhao didn't have the right to enlighten him. 1 Yijuan furrowed his brow. It was obvious that he knew what this meant. "Begin." Xian Ziwen waved his hand and quickly retreated. 2 yellow and 3 purple soul rings. This was 1 Yijuan's soul ring combination. Right now, his 5 soul rings were flashing alternately. One could see that the soul tool behind his back was shining brightly. It was obvious that it was gathering energy. His 5 soul rings were all auxiliary-type soul skills that boosted his soul power. With the help of his energy-gathering soul tool, he could fight for a longer period of time. With the help of the soul thrusters beneath his feet, he quickly retreated and widened the distance between him and Yuhao. More than 10 rays of different colors shot towards Yuhao. This series of adaptations made the teachers from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy and Xianziwen nod their heads in approval. As a Class 5 soul engineer, this was the best that he could do. However, these people, who had been praising Wan Yijuan a moment ago, couldn't help but be stunned in the next moment. Faced with Wan Yijuan's soul rays, Yuhao didn't even try to dodge them. Instead, he charged forward at full speed. When the soul rays were about to reach Yuhao used his hands to destroy them. In 2 steps, he was already in front of Wan Yijuan. He punched out with his right fist. Boom! A human-shaped dent appeared on the wall in the distance. Yuhao didn't even turn his head as he turned around and said coldly, "Next." In the following rounds, Yuhao maintained a record of winning in less than a minute. Furthermore, he didn't even use his martial soul. He had already won 10 rounds. Jing Hanshan became more and more serious. Yuhao's abilities were too frightening. He had crushed every single one of his opponents without using his martial soul. There was no longer any commotion in the spectators' stand. The students from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy looked at Yuhao with complicated expressions. Was this his true strength? It was laughable that they had mocked him for being arrogant. But after he displayed his abilities, they realized that he had the right to be arrogant. It was laughable that they had mocked him. They were just like clowns jumping around. This was what some of the students thought. Some of the smarter and more talented students had already learned their lesson. The situation that Jing Hangshan wanted to see had happened. However, Yuhao didn't think much of it. If they improved, so be it. Jing Hangshan was silent for a long time. Next round, let's send Spectral Nana up. Her martial soul is the bane of close combat soul masters. Yuhao was resting with his eyes closed. At this moment, he seemed to feel something. He opened his eyes and looked at his new opponent. His pupils shrank. This time, his opponent was a female student. This female student's appearance could not be considered stunning, but she was still considered to be above average. She was about 17 or 18 years old, and her fair skin was very smooth. She was tall and slender, and was at least 8 meters tall. Her long, dark red hair flowed down her back. Her eyes were very sharp. She tied her hair into a ponytail, and looked like she was about to get serious. Everyone looked at her with excitement and infatuation. When Yuhao saw her, he was shocked. "I was wondering why I didn't see you in the first 3 rounds. So he had been left behind until now. Nana was a pitiful girl that Yuhao had once saved. She was a pitiful girl whose parents' souls had been extracted by evil soul masters. She was the one who was worshipped as an envoy by a branch of the Holy Ghost Church because her martial soul was a specter. After that, she acknowledged Yuhao as her master to thank him for helping her. She was willing to become Yuhao's maidservant. She had done her best for the Tang sect, and Yuhao had always felt bad for her. She clearly didn't have to do this, but she did everything she could to repay him. She gave her life to the Tang sect. She did all this just to repay him for saving her life. She was a good girl. At the same time, she was the first person who dared to seduce him. Cough, cough, cough. I've gone too far. He didn't know that Nana didn't just have a master-servant mentality towards him. She also had blind admiration and adoration for him. However, she knew that it was impossible for her to do that, and she could only bury her adoration in her heart. As long as she could see him rule the world, she would be very happy. At the same time, she would feel a trace of happiness. My master is the strongest person on the continent. She was proud of this. When Yuhao saw Nana again, he didn't know what to do. He didn't like Nana, and only sympathized with her experience. However, when he saw Nana's silent dedication, he felt a little apologetic. Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, Year 6 Active Control Soul Tool Department, Nana. Please enlighten me. Nana's cold voice interrupted his thoughts. Yuhao looked at the valiant Nana with his hands behind his back and a faint smile on his face. Shrek Academy, Yuhao. Please enlighten me. Yuhao added, please enlighten me this time. Nana nodded. Sister Nana, you can do it. Sister Nana, you can do it. Sister Nana, show him what you've got. Many students in the spectator stands had already stood up and were cheering for Nana. Begin. Following Xianzuan's shout, the 11th round began. This time, Yuhao didn't make the first move. He just looked at Nana with his hands behind his back. Nana had already charged forward. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black soul ring. The best combination of 5 soul rings floated up from Nana's feet. Her entire body also changed as she released her martial soul. The girl, who was originally full of heroic spirit, suddenly became somewhat illusory. Her entire body felt somewhat unreal. However, her speed increased explosively after she released her martial soul. A streak of fiery red light flashed from Nana's body. It was a short knife that was only 1 foot and 2 inches long. The blade was very strange. This short knife was as wide as a palm, and the blade was very short and thick. There were gorgeous patterns engraved on it, but it was impossible to tell what material it was made of. The blade itself was dark red, but it was currently emitting a scarlet light. The 2-foot-long knife light flickered in and out, like a ball of fire that was about to swallow someone whole. This combination made Nana seem like a female general. This made Yuhao think of a story that Dai Zhu had once told him. There was a female general in that story called Hua Mulan. He didn't remember the story very clearly. After all, his memories were still incomplete. In any case, he only remembered that this woman was very strong. She seemed to have been born on a planet called Earth. It was a small planet under the jurisdiction of the 36 God Realm. However, there were many interesting things that happened there. Should he go there and take a look in the future? Papa, I've strayed from the main topic again. The short knife instantly turned into a long rainbow, and the 2-foot-long knife light expanded to 3 feet. When the knife was unleashed, Nana's body disappeared completely. She became one with the knife and slashed towards Yuhao. At that moment, the fan-shaped knife light that appeared in the air was like the rising sun. Whether it was in terms of speed, strength, element, or soul tool, it could be said that it was the best work of a Class 5 soul engineer. At this moment, Yuhao finally moved. He grabbed the short knife with both hands, and a strong vibration was transmitted to the blade. Kacha! The short knife was shattered by the vibration. Immediately after, an illusory figure flew backwards in response to the sound, directly flying 10 meters away. The person who was sent flying was naturally Nana. Nana's illusory figure suddenly became more solid. She lifted her head when she landed, and her eyes met with Yuhao's. She saw Yuhao's deep eyes and mesmerizing smile. Even she was stunned for a moment. However, she immediately adjusted her state of mind. This time, her speed increased again, and her first and second soul rings lit up one after another. Her figure separated, and Nana actually turned into 3 people. Furthermore, each of them looked very illusory. Yuhao smiled gently and finally released his destiny spirit eyes. A strange combination of 1 white and 4 black soul rings suddenly appeared. Everyone exclaimed subconsciously. This was Yuhao's first time using his martial soul and releasing soul rings. Everyone was shocked when they saw that his soul ring combination was much better than Nana's. Jing Hongshan was also very shocked. This was his first time seeing Yuhao use his martial soul. However, he didn't expect Yuhao to be so monstrous. Even Nana wanted to admit defeat, but her pride told her that she couldn't do that. She had to become stronger. Otherwise, how could she save her parents? Yuhao plucked 2 strands of his hair, and his second soul ring lit up. Yuhao gently blew the strands of hair in his hand. A white light flashed, and the 2 strands of hair instantly turned into 2 identical people. Doppelganger? Everyone was astonished. The 3 Yuhao and the 3 Nana clashed. The 3 Yuhao did the same thing, and directly grabbed the real Nana. As for the remaining 2 spectral doppelganger, they were destroyed with a single spiritual shock. At the moment when they were destroyed, Nana's 3rd soul ring lit up. Spectral possession. She was immune to all physical attacks. Time would increase, as she became stronger. Nana's body became even more illusory. She broke free from the three Yuhao that were grabbing her. At the same time, her fourth soul ring lit up. A dark shadow split from her body, and Nana's face turned pale. The dark shadow landed on Yuhao's body. Yuhao's body seemed to be entangled by a layer of black air. Fourth soul skill, Avenging Spirit. This soul skill had an extremely strong binding effect. However, there were many restrictions when using it. The user had to use their spiritual power to control it. If they couldn't restrain their opponent, they would suffer a strong backlash. "I've won," Nana told herself in her heart. However, she quickly felt that something was amiss. That was because she saw Yuhao's eyes. They were gray and filled with an aura of death. An indescribable fear appeared in Nana's heart. Following this, she heard Yuhao mumble something. The avenging spirit that was attached to Yuhao's body disappeared. It completely disappeared. It was as if it had fused into Yuhao's body. However, there was no backlash. Nana only felt that her heart was empty. It was as if she had lost something. She staggered and almost fell to the ground. However, she reacted immediately. Her fifth soul ring lit up. At the same time, she stretched out her left hand. A small white dagger that was only 5 inches long flew towards Yuhao like a bolt of lightning. However, Yuhao smashed that Class 6 soul tool with a single punch. After this, Yuhao made a pinching action. Nana instantly felt a pain that originated from her soul. She stopped in her tracks and clutched her chest. She fell to the ground and groaned in pain. She almost fainted. "I've won." Yuhao stopped destroying her soul. Following this, he turned around domineeringly. "Next, wait a minute. What did you do to me?" Nana suddenly stood up and shouted. However, when she saw Yuhao raise his hand again, the fear in her heart became even stronger. She clearly didn't feel any soul power undulations from Yuhao. Furthermore, the power that restrained her seemed to come from within. In other words, she wasn't restrained by Yuhao's soul skill. She thought about how the avenging spirit that she had released earlier had disappeared. She guessed that this was a side effect that was stronger than a direct backlash. While the avenging spirit was powerful and could determine the outcome of a battle, it would also become a nightmare for her if she encountered her natural enemy. She looked at Yuhao with a complicated expression. She didn't know what to do. Following this, Yuhao killed monsters all the way until noon. He won 25 matches in a row. He went back and rested for a while. In the afternoon, he defeated another 25 Class 5 Soul Engineers. The first day of the tournament ended just like that. He won 50 matches in a row. This had never happened before in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. It was a disgrace to the academy. As dusk approached, the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's students walked out of the Soul Tool experimentation arena. Most of them had solemn expressions on their faces, and there was a heavy look in their eyes. A 15-year-old Soul Master from the Shrek Academy had defeated 30 Class 5 Soul Engineers without using any Soul Tools. This included more than 70% of the Year 6 students. This meant that other than the illustrious Virtue Hall, no one in the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy could defeat this 15-year-old youth. What kind of humiliation was this? Tomorrow, the Class 6 Soul Engineers from the illustrious Virtue Hall would fight. Could they really win? At night, Yuhao was meditating in his room. Suddenly, there was a knock on his door. Yuhao stretched his body and opened the door. However, it wasn't Fanyu or Hikaitu outside his room. It was, "Sorry to disturb you. Can I come in?" Nana furrowed her brow as she asked. Although she wasn't a peerless beauty, she was still top-notch. That rare heroic spirit of hers gave her a different kind of charm, especially her extremely well-proportioned and explosive body that perfectly displayed the beauty of a woman's figure. The shape of her buttocks was especially beautiful. Yuhao furrowed his brow. However, he immediately relaxed. She was probably here for his spirit. "Come in." Nana entered Yuhao's room cautiously. Yuhao's room. What do you want?" Yuhao was a little frightened as he looked at Nana. At this moment, Nana's clothes had already fallen to the ground. Her beautiful figure was exposed in front of Yuhao. Before this, Nana had closed the door the moment she entered his room. Following that, she did this. Nana lowered her head. She looked very pitiful. Tears flowed down her cheeks. She had already lost her heroic spirit. She said weakly, "I just want to beg you. Return my spirit to me. I know that you're a top student from the Shrek Academy. Perhaps you already have someone in your heart. You don't like me. However, I don't have anything precious that I can exchange for my spirit with. I only have this body that hasn't been sullied. I've never been touched by another man. I beg you, return my spirit to me. I'll agree to anything you want. Even if you want my body, I'm willing to give it to you." Her voice was choked with sobs. Yuhao turned around in a sorry state. He covered his eyes with his hands. His face was a little red. Even though he had seen it before, it wasn't as clear as this time. Moreover, it was very close this time. Tui, he went off topic again. I know. Hurry up and put on your clothes. I'll return it to you after the competition. Hurry up. Yuhao said anxiously and in a sorry state. Nana was stunned for a moment. She only reacted at this moment. Yuhao seemed to be a little afraid of her current appearance. She lifted her head to look at his pathetic appearance. He didn't look the same as he did during the day, when he challenged everyone in front of everyone and won 30 consecutive rounds. Due to Yuhao's strong and domineering performance in the competition, many students had already set him as their target. In their eyes, Yuhao was a powerful soul master. At this moment, Nana realized that Yuhao was only a 15-year-old child, a child who was 3 years younger than her. Nana's face was slightly red. She hurriedly put on her clothes. Yuhao was a little embarrassed at this moment. He felt that his nose was a little hot, as if it was going to bleed. Damn it. In this world, women were indeed the scariest creatures. I'm done. Nana said softly. Yuhao turned his head. He peeked through the gap between his hands that were covering his eyes. After confirming that Nana was done, he turned around. His face was bright red, and the ahog on top of his head was violently swaying left and right. It was really cute and alluring. He covered his nose with both hands. Blood seemed to be coming out of his nose. Even though Yuhao covered it with his hands, Nana still saw it. Nana couldn't help but chuckle when she saw Yuhao in such a pathetic state, like a child who had been bullied. Her laughter was very beautiful. Yuhao said unhappily, "If you laugh again, I won't return your soul. It's fine. If you don't return it, I'll just give you my body." As Nana said this, she made a gesture of taking off her clothes. Yuhao's face, which had returned to normal, instantly turned red again. His ahog swayed even more violently than before. He immediately covered his eyes again. Embarrassed, he said angrily, all right, I'm scared of you. Get out of here. I'll give you my soul after the competition." Nana looked at his sorry state, which made him look like a little boy who had made a mistake. She laughed again. He looked much better now than he did during the competition. Perhaps this was the real him. Nana looked at him with a smile and said, "I hope you'll keep your promise. I don't have anything to exchange with you anyway. If you go back on your word and want my body, just let me know." "Get out of here," Yuhao said angrily again. Nana smiled gently. She walked to the door and opened it. She turned back and smiled at Yuhao. "Why did you have to pretend like that? You look so much cuter now than you did during the competition. This is the real you." When Yuhao heard this, he was stunned for a moment. However, in the next moment, he stomped his feet in embarrassment and anger. He immediately turned around and shouted at her with a red face. "No way out. No way out. Baka. Get out of here." Nana was stunned for a second, then laughed. "See, you're really cute like this," Nana said and walked out of the door, closing it behind her. Yuhao was still stunned. Yuhao touched his burning face. "What's wrong with me? It seems that I should read less light novels these days." Outside the door, Nana was thinking about something. Since he can imprison my soul, does that mean he can also? Nana suddenly became excited. She turned around and was about to knock on the door again. She raised her hand, but it stopped in midair. Nana's breathing was a little rapid. She murmured to herself, I can't rush. I can't rush. I'll look for him after the competition. I hope he can really do it. She clenched her fists as she spoke, but the excitement on her face was hard to hide. But what did he mean by the strange language of no Rousey just now? The next day, Yuhao, how was your rest last night? Xian Ziwen asked with a smile. Yuhao's first reaction was to think of Nana's body. He forced a smile and said, not bad. Xian Ziwen said, that's good. Your opponent today is very strong. After the Hall Master and I discussed it yesterday, we decided to let you use soul tools in the competition. After all, you only have 4 rings. It would be too unfair to restrict you too much. This isn't the style of the Japanese Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. You can do your best today and display all of your abilities. Yuhao was slightly stunned. You can let me use soul tools? Hall Master wants to see how I combine soul tools with my martial soul, right? Xianzuan said, I don't know. If you have absolute confidence in yourself, you don't have to use them. Yuhao laughed. Why not? It's not a big deal to let you see. Since it's an exchange of pointers, I have to show you the meaning of it. I just hope that your opponents today won't disappoint me. Xianzuan looked at him meaningfully and said, you won't be disappointed. Get ready. Yuhao nodded and closed his eyes to adjust his state of mind. If he didn't remember wrongly, those 2 lunatics should be fighting, right? The competition officially began. It was a youth who looked to be around 25 or 26 years old. He was muscular, had short brown hair, and tan skin. It was obvious that he was part of the royal family. His arms were longer than the average person's, but they were also exceptionally thick. As Yuhao slowly walked into the soul tool experimentation arena, he could faintly feel a wave of pressure coming towards him. However, Yuhao directly ignored the pressure and lazily looked at his opponent. He was a little disappointed. Truly too weak. Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's illustrious Virtue Hall, Shun Musu, versus Shrek Academy's Yuhao. Xianzuan looked at both parties and raised his right hand before slamming it down. Begin! As he shouted, Shin Musu quickly moved. As he charged forward, Shin Musu's hands separated by his sides, and a long blade appeared in each of his hands. The 2 long blades looked exactly the same. They were both 4 feet long, with thick handles and wide blades. Yuhao still stood where he was and watched as Shin Musu charged towards him. He didn't try to dodge, and directly took out a small black ball. That was... Xian Ziwen was shocked when he saw that thing. Others might not recognize it, but he did. That was a soul grenade that Yuhao had invented that wasn't meant for soul masters. Yuhao didn't even inject his soul power into it. He just threw it at Shin Musu. Shin Musu curled his lips in disdain. It's just a small ball. What can it do? Watch how I cut it in half with 1 slash. As he thought, he slashed at the small black ball that was coming towards him. He didn't see the Godspeed expression in Yuhao and Xianziwen's eyes. When he slashed at the small sphere, he immediately felt a heart-palpitating feeling. Before he could react, he heard a boom. A huge explosion occurred, and a small mushroom cloud appeared. Yuhao didn't even turn his head as he turned around. Next, the explosion behind him sounded again. After the smoke dissipated, a huge crater could be seen. Shin Musu was lying inside, and his body was bright red. His defensive soul tool had been blown to smithereens. If he didn't have his defensive soul tool, the explosion would have killed him. Silence. Everyone was silent. They were stunned. What kind of soul tool did Yuhao use? Even Xianzuan, Director Lin, and Jing Hongchun were stunned. It was no wonder. Xianzuan only knew that Yuhao had invented a soul tool grenade, but he had never used it before. When he used it this time, he was shocked by its strength. Director Lin and Jing Hongchun were also shocked that they had never seen such an explosive type soul tool before. They had never seen it before. What did this mean? It meant that either Yuhao or Shrek had invented a new soul tool. It meant that they hadn't invented a soul tool yet. I didn't expect this. Yuhao is really good at hiding things. Just like that, Yuhao emerged victorious once again in the afternoon. 48 consecutive victories. Furthermore, besides using soul tool grenades that weren't meant for soul masters, he also used explosive talismans. He also used many other soul tools that could be used in battle. Furthermore, he used them better than any of the students. Many teachers even admitted that they couldn't use soul tools as well as Yuhao. Jing Hongshun furrowed his brows. Yuhao's abilities were too frightening. He seemed to have chosen to be an all-rounder soul engineer. It was important to note that there were very few all-round soul engineers in the history of the Sun-Moon Empire. In the 49th round, Yuhao's opponent was a lady around 25 years old. She was quite pretty, and her purple hair reached her waist. Yuhao saw her and laughed bitterly in his heart. One of the two had finally appeared. Jing Zian, the sword fanatic's woman. Illustrious Virtue Hall, Jing Zian. Shrek, Yuhao. Match begin. Yuhao charged forward as soon as the match began. However, Yuhao used his full speed this time. Yuhao seemed to transform into a ray of light as he charged towards Jing Zian. Jing Zian's expression had been very calm since she entered the arena. However, when she saw Yuhao's light speed and was in front of her in the blink of an eye, a look of shock flashed across her eyes. She immediately released her invincible barrier, but Yuhao retracted his right pinky, ring, and thumb, leaving his middle and index fingers pressed together like a sword. He poked at the invincible barrier, and something magical happened. The invincible barrier was instantly pierced through like a piece of paper. His sword fingers didn't stop and just brushed past Jing Zian's face. A small wound was left on her face, and fresh blood dripped down onto Yuhao's middle and index fingers. Jing Zian was still in a daze as she stood there. She still hadn't recovered from the shock. Yuhao slowly retracted his finger sword and waved it towards the ground. Blood flew out, and a huge, 6-meter-long sword mark appeared on the ground at the moment he waved it. Somewhere in the spectators' stands, a 25-year-old cold-looking man with a sword on his back suddenly opened his eyes. He looked at Yuhao on the stage, and his eyes flashed with a strong desire to fight. Jing Zian also recovered from the shock and subconsciously collapsed to the ground. Yuhao turned around and said, "Next." Because the arena is damaged, there will be a half-minute break. Yuhao sat below the stage and closed his eyes to rest. It's the last round. Come out, you lunatic. Otherwise, it's really boring. Everyone looked quietly at Yuhao, who was resting with his eyes closed. Was he really only 15 years old? At 15 years old, he fought against all the geniuses of the Sun-Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, by himself. This couldn't be described as a genius anymore. Yuhao was a monster. 99 consecutive victories. 99 consecutive victories. This also proved that the Sun-Moon Soul Engineering Academy had lost 99 consecutive times. This was the most humiliating thing in the history of the Sun-Moon Soul Engineering Academy. Jing Hongshun and Director Lin furrowed their brows. Hall Master, Ji Juechen requests an audience. A teacher walked over and said respectfully to Jing Hongshun, "Oh, that lunatic?" Director Lin was surprised. Jing Hongshun thought for a long time before nodding. Let him in. Half a minute later, a handsome man stood in front of Yuhao. He was so handsome that many girls fell in love with him. Many men sighed when they saw him. He looked to be about 25 years old, and his long black hair was tied behind his head with a simple hairband. His face was unhealthily pale. It was a kind of cold handsomeness. In Yuhao's words, he had facial paralysis. His facial paralysis was comparable to Hantian's facial paralysis. He had a sword in his hand. It was about 4 feet long and was completely black. The sword looked very simple, and there was nothing special about it. It even looked a little like a fire stick. There was a fighting spirit in his eyes. He looked expressionlessly at Yuhao and said, "Ji Juechen." Yuhao finally put down his crossed arms and said very seriously, "Yuhao." He gave a very simple introduction of his name. Ji Juechen continued expressionlessly, I'm here because of the strength of your sword finger. I signed up at the last minute. I felt sword intent from your sword finger. I saw something that I've been searching for. Please let me feel it. Thank you." As he spoke, he held his sword with both hands and bowed slowly to Yuhao. His originally dim and lifeless eyes suddenly shone with a bright light. It was a kind of stubborn fanaticism and fighting spirit. At this moment, it seemed that there was only the sword in his hand and his eyes. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 2 black soul rings rose from his feet. "You're a lunatic." Sometimes, lunatics are scarier than normal people. However, I like to fight lunatics. Since that's the case, Yuhao said. He touched his forehead with his right hand. Instantly, his eye of destiny opened. A huge, jade-green sword emerged and landed in Yuhao's right hand. The huge sword suddenly shrank. It turned from a huge, jade-green sword to a treasured, jade-green sword. The blade of the sword was only 3 centimeters wide. The hilt of the sword was also jade-green. It was 3 meters long. Yuhao raised the sword in his right hand and pointed it at Ji Juechen. He said slowly, "I'll do as you wish. Today we'll have a sword duel." 6 terrifying soul rings, 1 white for black and 1 red, suddenly appeared. Everyone was shocked. Wasn't Yuhao a 5-ringed soul king? How did he become a soul emperor? Furthermore, he had 100,000-year soul ring. He has never seriously fought a single battle before. Has he been hiding his abilities since he came to the academy? Xianzuan was astonished as he looked at Yuhao. Even Jing Hongchen and Director Lin were moved. He's too monstrous. A 15-year-old soul emperor. This has never happened before in history. Even those on Shrek's side were astonished as they looked at Yuhao. That's because they didn't know about Tang Yu. Even they didn't know that Yuhao was already a soul emperor. Hikaitu had already reached the 60th level half a year ago. However, he hadn't looked for his 6th soul ring. He wanted to consolidate his strength. Jing Hongchen subconsciously thought that Yuhao's cultivation had been achieved through the use of treasures. However, he immediately rejected this idea. This was because Shrek had never advocated using treasures to increase one's cultivation. Furthermore, Yuhao actually had a 100,000-year soul ring on his 6th soul ring. This proved that Yuhao's cultivation was real. Otherwise, a soul master who relied on treasures wouldn't be able to have a 100,000-year soul ring on his 6th soul ring. On the other hand, Ji Juechen wasn't moved at all. It was as if his sword was the most important thing in his heart. Soul rings and whatnot were just decorations. In fact, this was indeed the case. Ji Juechen believed that soul rings and whatnot could be pushed aside. The sword was the way to go. Your sword intent has awakened my sword intent, which has been dormant for many years. Please guide me. Ji Juechen pointed his sword at Yuhao. Come on then. Yuhao tied his icy blue hair into a ponytail. He appeared valiant and formidable. The jade-green, treasured sword flickered. Yuhao gripped his sword tightly. His fighting spirit was also at its peak. My blood has been boiling for a long time. Before Xianzuan even said begin, the 2 of them had already charged forward. Clang! The swords clashed, and 2 majestic sword intents shot out. The ground beneath them caved in, and the 2 of them took 10 steps back at the same time. They were evenly matched in their first clash. If Yuhao were to evaluate Ji Juechen's sword intent, he would say that he had already reached the pinnacle of the illuminated sword heart. If he were to improve further, he would be able to reach the level of 1 with the sword. Yuhao had already reached the level above 1 with the sword 10,000 years ago. According to the words of the first generation, this was the so-called all things are swords. Everything could be used as a sword. Even if it was as fragile as hair and leaves, Ji Juechen looked at his meteoric iron sword, which had a crack on it. Indeed, Ji Juechen looked at Yuhao with a burning gaze. His sword intent is above mine. Ji Juechen knew that he would definitely lose if he continued to spar with Yuhao. However, Ji Juechen's goal wasn't to win, but to comprehend Yuhao's sword intent. Right now, he had already grasped an opportunity and felt as if he had touched the threshold. As long as he took another step forward, he believed that his sword intent would reach a higher level. You let me win. Let's go again. Ji Juechen held his sword with both hands and closed his eyes. A sword intent that seemed to be able to cut through the air appeared on his sword. Hui Yuhao was slightly shocked. When sword intent entered one's body, it meant that one had reached the realm of one with the sword. Ji Juechen was only one step away from reaching that realm. No wonder he's a sword fanatic. Hui Yuhao praised him in his heart. Ji Juechen moved. He slowly swept his meteoric iron sword across the ground. Instantly, a sword intent appeared on the ground and slashed towards Hui Yuhao. A long crack appeared on the ground. Hui Yuhao made a slashing motion. Boom! The two sword intents collided. The space around the point of impact was slightly distorted. Smoke and dust rose as the two figures collided once again. Because of the smoke and dust, it was impossible to see what was going on inside. Only clanging sounds could be heard. When the smoke and dust dissipated, it was possible to see that both of their swords were holding each other's sword. Both of their eyes were burning with fighting spirit. Just like that, the stalemate continued. Ji Juechen felt as if he had found the key to opening the door. He was also very excited. Ji Juechen was the first to withdraw his sword. I've lost. Thank you for your guidance. He bowed deeply towards Hui Yuhao. Following that, his meteoric iron sword cracked. Everyone was shocked as they watched on in disbelief. The broken sword was stabbed into the ground. Ji Juechen looked at the hilt in his hand and caressed it. This meteoric iron sword had accompanied him for many years. He didn't expect it to break today. Rest in peace, brother. Hui Yuhao pulled out the meteoric iron sword from the ground. The two of you must have had a good relationship, right? Hui Yuhao looked at the sword in his hand. Ji Juechen nodded and passed the hilt to Hui Yuhao. Please bury it for me. Thank you. Ji Juechen didn't even turn back as he left. However, Hui Yuhao could see a trace of tears at the corner of his eyes. A sword with emotions is better than a sword without emotions. You have a sword in your heart, and you have a sword in your heart. Hui Yuhao shouted at Ji Juechen as he walked away. Ji Juechen suddenly stopped in his tracks. After that, he turned around and bowed again. After that, he left without turning back. Hui Yuhao looked at Ji Juechen's back as he left. He smiled. Perhaps he would enter the realm of one with the sword during his closed-door cultivation. Hui Yuhao looked at the crowd. I won. Silence. No one said a word. Yes, Hui Yuhao won. 100 consecutive victories. However, they couldn't be happy. Hui Yuhao wasn't from the Sun Moon Empire. Hui Yuhao had won 100 matches. This meant that the Sun Moon Empire had lost 100 matches. It was a new record for the Sun Moon Empire. This was the greatest humiliation of all. 10,000 years later, this day would be known as the Sun Moon Soul Engineering Academy's Day of Humiliation. This day's humiliation would be remembered by future generations. At the same time, Hui Yuhao left behind an undefeated legend in the Sun Moon Soul Engineering Academy. No one could break the record that he had set, whether it was Yun Ming or the second-generation Golden Dragon King, Tang Wulin. None of them could do it. In the end, he was the one who broke the record. However, this was a story for another day. Hui Yuhao looked at the broken meteoric iron sword in his hand. He immediately spoke to the sword spirit that was sealed within it. Why are you in such dire straits? Doubt God's sword. Has the sword god fallen? The meteoric iron sword in his hand suddenly flashed. It exuded an indescribable sense of sorrow. Hui Yuhao frowned slightly. He seemed to be deep in thought. Just now, the meteoric iron sword had conveyed two words. Order. Hui Yuhao calmed himself down. He looked at the meteoric iron sword. Don't worry. I'll fix you. Once I fix you, you can return to old Ji's hands. The person you approve of must be very talented. After the match, Hui Yuhao claimed that he had gained some enlightenment and was going into closed-door cultivation. He also told Jing Hongchen not to forget about the bet. After that, he went into closed-door cultivation. Was he really going into closed-door cultivation? No, he was going to fix the meteoric iron sword. At the same time, he was going to let it shine with its true glory. Yuhao walked up to the stage. He crossed his arms in front of his chest. He looked like he was going to win. If you don't come out, then this match will be meaningless, old G. At this moment, a figure that Yuhao was familiar with walked up to the stage. Yuhao finally revealed a smile. He's finally out. That's right. Chapter 50. 3 months later, in Yuhao's room. Uff, I'm so tired. I put in a lot of effort to repair you. Yuhao stood up and stretched his back. After that, he looked at the gold and silver longsword that was floating in front of him. This sword was about 2 meters long, and there was an ancient aura surrounding it. However, there wasn't a single flaw on it. The sword's blade reflected a dazzling sharpness, as if it could split the heavens and earth apart. Yuhao nodded and said, "This is the real you, Tao God sword." Buzz! The Tao God sword suddenly lit up, and an illusory, black-haired beauty appeared. She was Rushue, and her skin was fair. She had a seductive figure, and she had a lofty aura. However, she still bowed respectfully to Yuhao. After that, she said gratefully, "Thank you, God of emotions." Yuhao stopped her and said, "Don't call me that. I haven't even regained my memories yet. If you don't mind, you can call me Yuhao. Speaking of which, what did you experience? Why did your master, the sword god, perish? Who did it?" The sword spirit of the Tao God sword was silent for a moment, then said to the god of emotions, "I don't remember what happened back then very clearly. At that time, when my master was about to fall, he threw me out. I don't even know the people who fought against my master. However, I can still remember what my master said to me. It seems like the next day, he met with Fanyu and Hikaitu and told them that he was safe. He also met with Xian Ziwen and told him that he was safe. Just as he was about to go to the canteen to eat, he saw someone from afar. "Hey, long time no see, Ji Juechen." Yuhao waved at him. Ji Juechen was still as cold as ever. He crossed his arms in front of his chest, and his aura was much stronger than 3 months ago. It seemed like he had broken through to become one with the sword. "You can still recognize me?" Ji Juechen was a little surprised. "Why can't I recognize you? You're a lunatic." Yuhao teased him. "Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment." Ji Juechen nodded. Yuhao pondered for a moment before he retrieved a gold and silver longsword and tossed it to Ji Juechen. "For you." Ji Juechen caught the sword. The moment he touched it, he immediately felt a sense of familiarity and closeness with it. This is... Ji Juechen stared at the sword in his hand for a long time, but he didn't know what to say. He had already guessed that this sword was the meteoric iron sword, but it seemed to have been reborn. After a long time, he bowed solemnly to Yuhao again. "Thank you for fixing it." After that, he took the sword and left. Yuhao smiled. The Tao God sword had good taste. After that, Yuhao furrowed his brows. He recalled the clues that the Tao God sword spirit had told him. Besides the clue of order, there were 2 other clues. The abyss. Original sin. Just as he was thinking about this problem, a lady appeared in front of him. "Excuse me." Yuhao took a look. "Wasn't that Nana?" "Oh, I'm sorry. I almost forgot about your spirit. I'm really sorry. I've been very busy for the past 3 months." "It's okay, as long as you haven't forgotten everything." She didn't know why, but she had an indescribable trust in Yuhao. She had even started to worship him recently. Yuhao's dormitory. "Let's make it clear first. Whatever you see next, you can't tell anyone." Yuhao said. Nana nodded. "Do you believe in the existence of multiple martial spirits?" It means that a person has more than 2 martial spirits. It's even more powerful than twin martial spirits. Yuhao said. After hearing that, Nana was first shocked, then she shook her head. How could she not shake her head? Twin martial spirits were already extremely rare. How could this guy have multiple martial spirits? How could she believe it? Yuhao smiled. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. I won't force you to believe it. Yuhao began to chant a strange spell. He made a gesture of holding something. A small ball of golden light jumped around his palm like a living thing. Go. Yuhao said softly. The small ball of golden light instantly entered between her eyebrows. Nana closed her eyes and felt something. After a long time, she opened her eyes. The moment she opened her eyes, she immediately knelt on the ground. What are you thinking about this time? Yuhao quickly took 2 steps back and looked at Nana in shock. Nana's eyes turned red. Yuhao, I beg you to help me. I was born in a noble family. My father is a hereditary baron of the Sun-Moon Empire. He's considered the lowest level of nobility. Although our family doesn't have any land, we have some land and shops. We're quite well off. My father's innate martial spirit doesn't have soul power, so he can't become a soul master. It was a coincidence that my father and mother met. My father went out for an outing and met my mother, who was severely injured after hunting a soul beast in the soul beast forest. My mother fainted when she saw my father. My father saved my mother and saved her from danger. However, my mother's injuries were very serious. My father had no choice but to bring her home. My mother recuperated for a month before her injuries healed. My mother was touched by my father's meticulous care. On the day they were about to leave, my father asked my mother to stay and expressed his love for her. However, my mother told my father that I'm an inauspicious person. Staying would be harmful to him. My father insisted on holding on to my mother and firmly said that he wasn't afraid. He didn't believe in Goose Yang either. After a month of being together, she received his meticulous care when she was at her most helpless. She even saved her life. My mother wasn't heartless to my father. After some hesitation, she chose to stay. Their relationship progressed very quickly. 3 months later, they got married. A year and a half later, I was born. Although my father is a noble, he's very kind. He treats all the tenants of our house very well. After my mother married my father, she stayed at home to take care of her husband and teach her daughter. Until I was 6 years old, we had a very happy life. Until one day, I was 6. That day, my mother told my father that she was going out. I was still young then and pestered my mother to go with me. Later, I found out that my mother was going to the soul beast forest to hunt soul beasts. Her soul power had reached a bottleneck, and she needed a soul ring to break through. My mother was born a commoner and relied on herself to cultivate. When she was young, she only went to an elementary soul master academy and learned some basic knowledge. Later on, she didn't have the money to continue her studies. However, by relying on her own efforts, my mother successfully broke through rank 40 and became a soul ancestor when I was 6 years old. To a commoner, this was already very rare. My father supported my mother's decision, but she was gone for half a year. After half a year, my mother came back. However, her expression was very ugly. At that time, my father and I were only happy and didn't notice anything wrong. My mother also successfully obtained a soul ring. At that time, my martial soul had already awakened. Just like my mother, it was Spectre. Nana sat on the chair. Her words were very shaky, and tears flowed down her face. Her eyes were red from crying. Yuhao looked at her and felt uncomfortable. Yuhao slowly stood up, walked to the door, and opened it. "Let's go," he said indifferently. "Huh?" Nana was stunned. "Where are we going?" Yuhao turned his head and smiled at her. "To save your family. Aren't you going to find help?" Yuhao smiled again. "We'll go there openly. Even if there's a god there, I'll kill it for you." Nana stared at the young man who was even shorter than her, but at this moment, she felt that he was so tall. Mingdu, at the corner of a street. Yuhao stood at the entrance of a courtyard. Behind him stood Nana. She was dressed in black with a bamboo hat on her head. Nana said to him, "Turn invisible first. After I knock on the door, you can—" Before Nana could finish her words, Yuhao kicked the door open. "Don't bother. I told you that we'll go in openly." "Who is it?" A young man dressed in black with a bamboo hat rushed over. But before he could react, he was knocked unconscious. Yuhao clapped his hands and said, "Good man. How dare you? How dare you trespass into our sect?" 2 men dressed in white with white hoods rushed over with a group of men dressed in black with bamboo hats. However, Yuhao acted as if he didn't see them. He held Nana's wrist with his right hand and walked straight in. He raised his left hand, and a ball of gray light appeared in his hand. He waved his hand, and everyone was stunned. When Yuhao and Nana entered the underground hall. "Nana, you're really brave. How dare you bring strangers into our sect?" Two men dressed in white with hoods appeared in front of them. They were the Great Holy Spirit and Second Holy Spirit that Nana had mentioned. They were both six-ringed soul emperors. The two of them immediately released their martial souls and soul rings. They were the best combination. Yuhao smiled faintly. His icy blue hair suddenly turned gray, and even his eyes turned gray. He exuded a dense aura of death, and 6 gray soul rings appeared. "Soul cage," Yuhao said. 2 streaks of gray light instantly entered the Great Holy Spirit and Second Holy Spirit's eyebrows. Instantly, they felt as if their souls had been imprisoned, and they even suffered unbearable pain. "Oh, you've imprisoned our souls. You know how to imprison souls too? How is this possible? You're an evil soul master too? We're from the Holy Ghost religion. Our Holy Emperor. I don't care if you're the Holy Emperor or the Holy God. I'll just kill you if you come." Yuhao said, "Purify the filth in your souls." 2 streaks of pure white light were released from his Eye of Destiny. They entered the Great Holy Spirit and Second Holy Spirit's bodies. "Oh, this is impossible. This is the power to destroy souls." "Who are you?" "This is a power that only the Holy Emperor has." "Who are you?" The two of them cried out in pain. After that, they seemed to have thought of something. "Oh yes, we know. Are you the Holy Son? Holy Son, you should find the Holy Emperor. With your help, the Holy Emperor will definitely lead us to rule this world. Only we who possess holy power have the right to control everything in this world. Whoever wants it can have it. I don't care anyway," Yuhao said. The Great Holy Spirit and Second Holy Spirit revealed a strange smile on their faces. "Holy Son, even if you don't find the Holy Emperor will find you one day. At that time, it might be the opportunity for the Holy Spirit to rule over everything. The Holy Son has descended. The Holy Spirit will live forever. The Holy Emperor will live forever." Oh, their eyes suddenly dimmed, and even their bodies became like dust, sliding down and dispersing. Not a single corpse was left behind. Yuhao clapped his hands. His gray hair and eyes instantly turned back to icy blue. His 6 gray soul rings had already disappeared. It was as if he was already used to such a scene. Nana was already in a daze behind Yuhao. Although she had always thought that Yuhao was very strong, she didn't expect Yuhao to be so strong. "Nana." Only when Yuhao called her name did Nana snap back to reality. "Go and find your parents. There's not much time left. I used a cleansing spell just now." The evil and filth on their bodies will gradually be cleansed. When they're completely cleansed, they'll be purified and ascend to heaven. If you have anything to say, quickly tell them. I'll wait for you outside. Outside, Yuhao looked at the group of holy servants and holy disciples who were still in a daze. He waved his hand, and everyone regained their senses. When they saw Yuhao, they didn't rush forward. They already knew how big the gap between them was. Yuhao said plainly, "The Great Holy Spirit and Second Holy Spirit are dead. The evil sect's branch altar has been destroyed. The souls of your loved ones have been purified. If you still want to see them one last time, hurry up and go down. If I wanted to harm you, you would have become corpses long ago. Why are you still standing here? Why aren't you going? If you miss this chance, you'll never see your loved ones again. This is also the best time for you to leave this evil sect and free yourselves." The last sentence was shouted. This shout directly woke them up. They collectively kowtowed to Yuhao, got up, and rushed into the underground hall. Yuhao found a room and rested there. He could still hear the cries and howls. Obviously, the holy servants had found the souls of their loved ones. Nana was the first to walk out of the tunnel. She had already taken off the hood, and her eyes were red and swollen from crying. When she came in front of Yuhao, her knees gave way and she was about to kneel down. Yuhao held her up. "Nana, don't be like this. My condolences. Your parents' souls can be considered to have been purified, and they finally have a place to belong. Nana lightly nodded her head. Thank you, Master. Mas. Master? The corner of Yuhao's mouth twitched slightly. Why is history always so similar to what happened in the past? Yes, Nana said before. As long as Master can help Nana rescue her parents' souls, Nana will serve you even if she has to be a cow or a horse. You did it, and you even helped Nana to purify the filth in her parents' souls. You also let Nana no longer have anything to worry about. This grace of rebirth can only be repaid with my life. If you insist on refusing, then Nana has nothing left to live for in this world, and can only leave this world forever. The other holy servants' faces were all pale, and their eyes were red and swollen from crying. They came behind Nana and kneeled down at the same time. We are unable to repay the grace of rebirth. We are willing to follow you for life and serve you with our souls. Their experiences were almost the same as Nana's. After seeing that their loved one's souls were finally freed, although they didn't know Yuhao before, their feelings towards him were unimaginable. Yuhao slapped his forehead with all his might. This is really a headache. Here it comes again. Master, I also don't want to do this. But we have been enslaved for a long time, and almost all of us are orphans. In this world, we don't have any relatives anymore. If you don't want us, we don't even know what to do. I definitely can't go back to the academy. Master, please give us your orders. It would be good if he could point us in the right direction. Among the 8 of them, there are 4 soul ancestors and 4 soul kings. 4 of them are even soul engineers. If you aren't willing to take us in, I'm afraid we won't be able to escape the holy ghost religion's pursuit. Yuhao pondered for a moment, then said, How about this? I won't refuse anymore. If you're really willing to follow me, I'll give you a token. In that case, I'll give you a keepsake. Leave Radiant City immediately and go to Shrek Academy to find someone called Bei Bei. He's my eldest senior, and he'll make the arrangements for you. However, you definitely won't be able to enter the Shrek Academy. I don't need you to know the reason. If you're willing, you can join our sect. Our sect is called Tangmin, and we've been around for 10,000 years. Tongmin's headquarters are temporarily located in Shrek City. As long as you can reach there, I can guarantee your safety. You don't have to swear loyalty to me or anything. After joining Tangmin, we'll be fellow disciples. We'll call each other senior and junior brothers. Nana revealed a look of joy in her eyes, but she didn't change the way she addressed him. Her body turned illusory, and she left Yuhao's hand and bowed down. Thank you, Master. You don't have to call me Master. Then, I'll call you Young Master. Yuhao couldn't win against her in an argument, so he could only acquiesce. Chapter 51. This is troublesome. Yuhao laughed bitterly as he shook his head. He still didn't know whether the spirit in Wudong's body was a friend or foe. It seemed like he had to take things slowly. Over the next few days, Yuhao continued to cultivate with Tang Dong. Under Yuhao's guidance, Tang Dong successfully condensed his soul core and bloodline soul core. Yuhao naturally wouldn't hide anything from Tang Dong. One day, Yuhao sat cross-legged in his personal room. A red soul ring revolved around him continuously. Following this, a 2- or 3-year-old girl appeared on his shoulder and sat on it. 4 soul rings suddenly appeared and revolved neatly behind the red soul ring. These 4 soul rings weren't the basic colors of soul rings that everyone knew. Instead, they were orange-gold in color. Yuhao was trying to sense these 4 orange-gold soul rings. Yes, they're different from before. At this moment, a ball of icy blue light revolved around Yuhao. The icy blue light formed a flashy, icy blue robe. There were even a few ice crystals embedded on the collar. The icy blue robe automatically draped over Yuhao's body. Instantly, Yuhao's aura became noble and extraordinary. What's this? A soul bone? How can there be a soul bone like this? Yuhao was speechless. Daddy, don't you like the special soul bone I gave you? Xiao Shui, who was sitting on his shoulder, said unhappily. No, I'm just curious. This robe, Yuhao was stunned before he could finish his sentence. He carefully sensed for a moment and realized that he couldn't sense his own aura. Yuhao took off the robe, and his aura appeared again. When he put it on again, his aura disappeared. It conceals one's aura. Yuhao muttered. Very good. I like this. Not only can it conceal one's aura, it has many other uses. Daddy, you can figure it out yourself. After that, Yuhao explained to Tang Dong about Xiao Shui so that Tang Dong wouldn't misunderstand. Yuhao's month-long break was about to end, and it was time for him to report to the Sun Moon Soul Engineering Academy. Just as he was about to return, Tang Dong passed him a pouch that Niu Tian had asked him to pass to him. Yuhao put it away, but he didn't open it. He seemed to know what was inside. He had to hurry back now. He still had to study for another half a year before he could return to Shrek Academy. Even though there was nothing left to learn, 4 months passed quickly. One day, Xianzuan was patrolling the illustrious Virtue Hall as usual. When he walked past Yuhao's lab table, he was stopped by him. Xianzuan smiled and said, Yuhao, you haven't taken the initiative to talk to me for at least a month. Do you finally have something to ask me? Yuhao said, Teacher Xian, can I look for you in your office tonight? Our exchange program is about to end, and I have something to tell you. Xianzuan was stunned. Yes. Looking at the time, this exchange program was about to end. Even though Yuhao hadn't interacted much with him over the past few months, Xianzuan had seen how serious he was in his research. Furthermore, he was an outstanding soul master. Which teacher wouldn't like such a student? All right, in Xianzuan's office. Tell me, why are you looking for me? Xianzuan asked as he looked at Yuhao, who had closed the door. Come, teacher, let's sit down and talk. Yuhao pulled out a chair for Xianzuan to sit. Teacher Xian, do you still remember our bet? Yuhao asked. Xianzuan said, Of course I do. Why? Can you produce 10 pieces of research of that caliber? Don't worry, I'm a man of my word. As long as you can produce them, I'll follow you wherever you want. What if I can tempt you with less than 3 of my research products? Yuhao laughed. Xianzuan was stunned. Yuhao had indeed produced something that could tempt him before. It was that soul grenade that wasn't meant for soul masters. Even now, he still wanted to obtain the energy circulation device inside it. Following this, Yuhao took out the Zhuge Divine crossbow cannon that had been sealed in a milk bottle. He passed it to Xianzuan. Xianzuan's eyes brightened. He was clearly attracted. The corner of Yuhao's mouth curled up. Yuhao said, Teacher, I know that you've been researching human-shaped soul tools. Right now, there are 2 factions. One is a small faction, and the other is a large faction. Teacher, you're from a small sect. Why don't you take a look at this? Yuhao finished speaking and unbuttoned his shirt. There was a button on his chest. Yuhao pressed it, and 18 rays of golden light suddenly flashed. With Xianzuan's eyesight, he could see them clearly. They were a headband, a breastplate, a left shoulder guard, a left upper gauntlet, a right upper gauntlet, a right upper gauntlet, a left lower gauntlet, a right lower gauntlet, a right lower gauntlet, a waist guard, a battle skirt, a left upper leg gauntlet, a right lower leg gauntlet, a right lower leg gauntlet, and a battle boot. 18 rays of light instantly flew towards Yuhao's body. One by one, they attached themselves to his body. The moment they were done, a pair of golden wings spread out from Yuhao's back. There was a large golden gem on his headband, and a golden mask protected his head. Yuhao looked like a shining golden armored man. His aura suddenly soared, causing Xianzuan to involuntarily tremble. This is... Xianzuan stared at the golden armored man in front of him in disbelief. The mask suddenly opened, revealing Yuhao's smiling face. What's wrong, Teacher Xian? Are you tempted? Quick, tell me. How did you do it? Also, what's the name of this thing? Xianzuan excitedly grabbed Yuhao's golden shoulders and shook them. This is something I've been working on for the past few days. It's just a prototype, and I haven't tested it yet. I call it battle armor. Great. What a great name. It's like turning a person into a soul tool. Xianzuan exclaimed excitedly. Teacher Xian, Why don't you take a look at the third one? But I can't make it on my own. I only have the blueprints. Yuhao took out a blueprint and handed it to Xianzuan. Xianzuan held it in his hands and looked at it for a long time. Then he took a deep breath. The way he looked at Yuhao suddenly changed. You're a madman. How could you think of such a blueprint? You don't have to say anymore. I'll go with you. I'll help you make this thing in the future. Xianzuan agreed to leave with Yuhao. However, Yuhao told him to stay for a while longer before resigning. He told Xianzuan to look for him in Shrek City after resigning. After that, he went to use that thing from the original novel. Forget it. He couldn't remember anyway. It was just that he added an energy circulation device to it, which attracted Jing Hongshan's attention. Jing Hongshan was in a hurry to buy it, but Yuhao swindled him in the end. A day passed very quickly. The exchange program for the Shrek Academy's exchange program finally came to an end. Out of consideration for their reputation, the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy held a farewell ceremony. Jing Hongshan was there personally. On the Shrek Academy's side, Fan Yu led the team. Yuhao, He Kaitu, Yi Shaosheng, and the other students stood in a row. They had changed back into the Shrek Academy's uniform early in the morning. This meant that they were about to leave and return to their alma mater. Jing Hongshan gave a passionate speech during the farewell ceremony. There wasn't much change in his expression, and he seemed very calm. It was as if he had already forgotten about the unpleasantness between him and Yuhao the day before. He even smiled at Yuhao, as if he was very satisfied with Yuhao. Yuhao gave him some face and didn't mention what happened yesterday. Everything developed according to the original plot. Su Tianran came and gave Jing Hongshan the rare resources. Jing Hongshan also successfully exchanged the blueprints with Yuhao. Of course, he did some tricks, but he didn't get the blueprints for the energy circulation device. Jing Hongshan didn't reveal anything. After all, it was only a matter of time before they arrived at Maple Leaf City for the exchange. Xiao Hongshan and Meng Hongshan immediately looked at Yuhao, but Yuhao just smiled at them. After that, he didn't say anything. What else did he want? Did he want to say goodbye to them? That's impossible. Okay, the exchange was a success. Well, Yuhao told Yin Xiaozhe and the others that he might make a move on the way back. After a simple lunch, Fan Yu led He Kaitu, Yi Shaosheng, and the other students out under Yin Xiaozhe's instructions. Yin Xiaozhe and Xian Lin rested for a while with Yuhao. However, they slowly left Maple Leaf City and walked towards the Shrek Academy. They slowed down mainly because they wanted to increase the distance between them and those in front of them. After around an hour, Yuhao suddenly said, "They're here." Yin Xiaozhe and Xian Lin instantly became alert. The weather today was very good, and the sky was clear and boundless. However, at this moment, the sky changed in the distance. A large patch of dark clouds was drifting towards them at an alarming speed. Furthermore, the dark clouds seemed to be expanding continuously. It felt as if they were about to destroy a city. Xian Lin snorted coldly. Her body shook, and she slipped out of Yin Xiaozhe's protective soul power. Her flying-type soul tool also lowered its output as it floated in midair. Yin Xiaozhe stayed beside Yuhao. The dense patch of dark clouds was moving faster and faster. The closer it was, the more one could see how huge it was. The dark clouds gradually took shape in the sky and turned into the shape of a huge tiger's head. A thunderous voice sounded. "Yin Xiaozhe, do you still remember your old friend?" Yin Xiaozhe squinted his eyes. "Zhang Peng, you're not dead yet. Are you prepared for me to take care of you today?" "Yin Xiaozhe, your mouth is still as foul as ever. Let's see who's going to take care of who today." The huge tiger head let out a deafening roar. A frightening aura was instantly unleashed and engulfed Yuhao and the others. At this moment, Xian Lin moved. She looked into the sky and let out a long roar. Her figure flashed, and she shot into the sky. Blazing flames were released from her body. These flames were green, and Xian Lin was growing taller. On the other hand, Xian Lin's body was growing taller. In the blink of an eye, she was already more than 5 meters tall, and there was an additional layer of green armor on her body. In addition, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black soul rings rose from her feet. Her enlarged body seemed to have become younger, like a young lady in her 20s. She also had a heroic aura that was filled with fighting spirit. Martial God Doloa, Xian Liner, a black-clothed elder appeared. It was Scorpion Tiger Doloa, Zhang Peng. Didn't the two of you break up? Why are you still together with a hypocrite like Yin Xiaojia? Zhang Peng, you actually dare to appear in the human world. Have you forgotten how Elder Mu let you off? Xian Lin, pointed her spear forward and questioned him furiously. Zhang Peng said, "Of course I remember. I'm indebted to Elder Mu for letting me off. I've always remembered this kindness. I've never appeared in the human world when Elder Mu was alive. Now that Elder Mu is gone, he's dead. That kindness has restricted my freedom for so many years. No one can restrict me anymore. I naturally have to appear in the human world again. I won't make things difficult for you and Yin Xiaojia on account of our friendship back then. The two of you can leave now, but leave that kid behind." Yin Xiaojia smiled and said, "Zhang Peng, they're getting worse and worse. You actually colluded with the Sun Moon Empire and found yourself a good boss." Zhang Peng was furious. Nonsense, nonsense. I don't know anything about the Sun Moon Empire. I don't even know anything about the illustrious Virtue Hall. Hurry up and hand him over. Then, all of you can scram." Xian Lin's eyes shone with a cold light. "Aren't you afraid that you'll bite your tongue? I want to see how you can make us scram." As she spoke, she shouted, and her body flashed through the air like a bolt of green lightning. She arrived in front of Zhang Peng in the next instant. She pointed her battle spear forward, and a thunderous boom rang out in the air as a gigantic green dragon projection flashed behind Xian Lin's back. The tip of her spear was already in front of Zhang Peng. Zhang Peng clasped his hands in front of his chest, and a black ball of light immediately appeared in his palms. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black soul rings quickly rose from beneath his feet. His 9 soul rings actually took turns to release a halo of light. The black ball of light blocked the tip of Xian Lin's spear. "Fighting is too boring. Let's dance instead." Yuhao looked in a certain direction. "Senior, since you're here, why don't you show yourself?" Yin Xiaojia was shocked. He sensed carefully and really discovered a trace of aura. "Ha ha ha. No wonder you're the last disciple of the dragon god, Doloa. Your senses are so strong." An old voice rang out, and a crack suddenly appeared in midair. A figure walked out from within. He was also an old man, but his appearance was much better than Doloa and Zhang Peng. The old man was tall, and his silver hair was combed neatly. His face was as red as a baby's, and his long eyebrows hung on both sides of his face. His hands were behind his back. He quietly floated in midair and didn't release any soul power undulations at all. However, the soul power undulations released by Xian Lin, and Zhang Peng's battle automatically dissipated when they were 10 meters away from him. They couldn't even reach him. Yin Xiaojia's expression turned serious. It wasn't just because this old man mentioned Elder Mu when he appeared. It was also because he didn't recognize this old man. With Yin Xiaojia's age and his status as the dean of the Shrek Academy's martial soul department, he had seen most of the famous titled Dua on the continent. However, not only did he sense extreme danger from this old man, but he also couldn't recognize him. The old man smiled and looked at Yin Xiaojia and Yuhao. "I haven't left the mountain for many years. Most of my friends are no longer around. Even Elder Mu has passed away. What a pity. I'm here today for you and this little fellow. I want to see if the dragon god Doloa's disciple has truly inherited Elder Mu's legacy. I also want to take this little fellow's storage ring. My name is Xiaoyao the dragon. What about you, little fellow?" Yuhao said, neither arrogant nor impatient. When Yin Xiaojia heard Xiaoyao's name, he lost his voice and said, Your Dragon Emperor Doloa's dragon Xiaoyao? You're still alive?" Xiaoyao the dragon smiled and said, "Yes, this old man was still alive. It's a pity that Muin passed away before me." As he spoke until here, his eyes revealed a tinge of sadness. The relaxed look on Yin Xiaojia's face disappeared at this moment. He didn't expect that there would be such a powerful individual among the people that Jing Hongchun had sent to intercept them. Who was Xiaoyao the dragon? He was the darkness holy dragon, who was known as the twin holy dragons of black and white. Dragon Emperor Daw, Dragon Xiaoyao, Dragon God Dolaw, and Muan. Xiaoyao the dragon's martial soul was the darkness holy dragon. Together with Elder Mu's radiant holy dragon, they were the two extremes of darkness and light among dragon-type martial souls. Back then, their cultivations were on par with each other. For some reason, Dragon Emperor Dolaw the dragon Xiaoyao suddenly disappeared. He disappeared from the continent. Yin Xiaozhe wasn't even born yet. Naturally, he hadn't seen this powerful individual before. Elder Long, do you want to check this place? Yin Xiaozhe furrowed his brows. Xiaoyao the dragon said, I've been entrusted with this task. I owe him a huge favor, and I have no choice but to be used by him. How about this? You could take 3 of my attacks and hand over that little fellow's storage ring. Then you can leave. I'll spare your lives. But that little girl will have to stay here. How are you a senior if you bully a junior? Yuhao said. Junior brother, don't spout nonsense. Elder Long is as famous as teacher. He possesses the black dragon martial soul and is known as the black and white dragons. He's also known as the Dragon Emperor. You can say that he's one of the strongest remaining soul masters. Yin Xiaozhe had an anxious look on his face. Junior brother, are you also Mu En's disciple? Xiaoyao the dragon didn't have any reaction to Yuhao's words. Instead, he was surprised by his identity. That's right. I'm teacher's last disciple. You're at least 200 years older than me. If you were the same age as me, you wouldn't be my match. If teacher was still alive, how would you dare to make a move against the people from the Shrek Academy? Yuhao didn't give him any face. Although he didn't hate Dragon Emperor Dalaw and even admired him, he had to continue acting. Xiaoyao the dragon squinted his eyes and focused on the vertical eye on Yuhao's forehead. Third eye. It's a very unique martial soul and feeling. You said that I'm bullying you. Fine. How about you attack me instead? I'll only use rank 50 soul power like you. As long as you can make me move half a minute on the spot, I'll consider it your win. I don't want that storage ring on your hand either. I didn't expect Mu En to take in such a small disciple as he's nearing his end. I'm very curious. What kind of ability attracted him? Yes, Yuhao had suppressed his cultivation. Even Dragon Emperor Dalaw was fooled. Yuhao placed his hands on his hips and said, Then hurry up and come down. Xiaoyao the dragon seemed to be very interested in him. He couldn't help but laugh. I forgot that you can't float in the air. All right, let's go down then. Before the battle, Yuhao had made a bet with Xiaoyao that he could turn the tide of the battle. Xiaoyao the dragon didn't believe it at first, but the result shocked him. Yuhao borrowed the power of necromancy magic and drew upon the light of the sun to sublimate those beast souls. Just like that, War God Dola won. Who are you? What kind of power did you use? How did you make my beast souls disappear? Dolawa the scorpion tiger looked at Yuhao in shock. At this moment, he could already feel that the power that caused his heart to palpitate was completely suppressing his attributes. I only drew upon the light of the sun, Yuhao said. Xiaoyao the dragon came in front of Yuhao again. This time, he looked at the child in front of him with even more focus. It's not as simple as the power of light. It seems to be a special kind of energy that can make souls fear. I've lost. I'll keep my promise and protect the lives of the 3 of you. But can you tell me the name of the power you used just now? Even Mu En wouldn't be able to have that kind of power. Looking at the Dragon Emperor Daw's deep gaze, Yuhao said seriously, Sure enough, I can't hide it from you. That's the power of purification. It can purify all the darkness and filth in the world. The power of purification. What a great power of purification. I didn't expect you to have such a gift. But for what I can feel, your attribute doesn't seem to be something like light or holy. Interesting. A bit interesting. The sound you made just now should be the ability to resonate with the light element. It's the first time I've seen such an ability. Let's go, little guy. Let me see how many more strange feelings you can give me. Xiaoyao the dragon's eyes flickered with a strange light. Xiaoyao the dragon looked at Yuhao and smiled faintly, saying, "Come, little guy. I'll let you attack freely 3 times. You can use all your abilities. I won't fight back. As long as you can make me move even a little or use the power of my martial soul, you win. How about it? I'll only use soul power of the same rank as yours to defend myself. Be careful. Don't let me beat you into oblivion." Yuhao stretched his body and said, "Ha ha, what an interesting little guy. How did you beat me into oblivion?" Xiaoyao the dragon laughed with his hands behind his back. Yuhao's lips curled, and he instantly unleashed his Ice Dragon King martial soul. Ice blue dragon wings, dragon claws, dragon scales, dragon tail, and dragon horns. Yuhao seemed to have turned into a dragon man. He released 1 red and 4 orange soul rings. His frightening dragon's might made the 4 Daw experts, who had beast souls, fearful. This was especially so for Xianlin, and the dragon Xiaoyao. Because they had dragon martial souls, they actually felt a sense of submission. This is the Ice Dragon King, one of the 9 great dragon kings. Xiaoyao the dragon's expression changed once again. He was extremely astonished. His martial soul was the Darkness Holy Dragon, which was only a branch of the Black Dragon clan. However, Yuhao had the bloodline of the Ice Dragon clan. Furthermore, he had a royal bloodline. How could he not be astonished? Yuhao had already won in terms of the quality of his martial soul. The only difference was his cultivation. More importantly, Yuhao's frightening combination of soul rings was simply too unbelievable. 1 red and 4 orange gold soul rings. What kind of combination was this? What the hell were orange gold soul rings? Ice Dragon King, orange gold soul rings. Unbelievable, truly unbelievable. Xiaoyao the dragon muttered. Yuhao had already made his move. He retracted his right fist and poured all of his strength and the power of ice into his right fist. Then, he attacked Xiaoyao the dragon. Feeling the frightening pressure coming towards him, Xiaoyao the dragon actually had the urge to dodge immediately. It was as if he would be half crippled if he were to take a hit. Before Xiaoyao the dragon could dodge, a 3-meter-long golden spear shot out from Yuhao's third eye. Danger. Xiaoyao the dragon actually felt danger. Xiaoyao the dragon wanted to move, but the feeling of submission still hadn't subsided. He simply couldn't move a single step. Left with no choice, Xiaoyao the dragon could only make a move. He grabbed the golden spear with both hands, but the moment the spear touched his hand, he felt a frightening, devouring power, devouring his soul power and life force. Xiaoyao the dragon hurriedly let go, but Yuhao was already in front of him. He grabbed the spear with his left hand and flicked it upwards. The tip of the spear sliced through Xiaoyao's black robes. Yuhao's right fist, which had been accumulating power for a long time, instantly smashed towards Xiaoyao's chest. Dodge? It's too late. Xiaoyao the dragon let out a low roar. He immediately released his martial soul and his own soul power to defend himself. His pitch-black dragon wings protected his body. Boom! Xiaoyao the dragon's body flew back, 100 meters under everyone's astonished gazes. He even knocked down several large trees. Cough, cough. Ha ha. So strong. Amazing. Truly amazing. As expected of the Frost Dragon King. As expected of Mu Un's last disciple. Xiaoyao the dragon spat out a mouthful of blood and laughed toward the sky. He patted the dirt off his body and looked at his chest, which was covered in a layer of frost. Even with the black dragon protecting his body, he was still able to hit me. As expected of the Frost Dragon King, Xiaoyao the dragon flashed and arrived in front of Yuhao. Little fellow, I've lost. I'm willing to accept my loss. I don't want your ring anymore. You can leave too, Xiaoyao the dragon said. Senior Long. Zhang Peng still wanted to say something, but Xiaoyao the dragon glared at him. Zhang Peng immediately cowered. Yuhao the dragon waved his slightly heavy right hand. Thank you for letting me win. Yin Xiaozhe and Xianlin reacted very quickly. They immediately left with Hoi Yuhao, Senior Long. Are you really going to let him go? Didn't the sovereign sex master ask you to take that child away? According to the information from the branch's soul, that child is very likely to be the legendary Holy Son. Zhang Peng said, cut the crap. I've always been a man of my word. If I let them go, I'll definitely let them go. As for Shishui, I'll explain it to him myself. With that, he disappeared from where he was. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.